we're back. Couch Company podcast.
Back again.
Yes, sir. My name's John. With me, as always, Tyler.
Hey, John.
Jumping in there a little bit. I like that.
I hate waiting.
Yeah.
It's like it gets longer and longer, and then it's just,
Absolutely. And I was in the shower, as I do on occasion, thinking about some things. One of them was my introductions. And my thought was, man, there's two ways you can take this. At first, I was like, I'm such an asshole. Because I just always do this thing where I change up my tempo just to throw you off.
Yeah.
And you never know when I'm going to pass you the ball.
Right.
But, I'm not an asshole. I'm actually a great teammate because I'm actually just keeping you on your toes. And I want my teammates to always be at their best and aware at all times.
Okay.
That's a very glass half full, half empty kind of way to look at it.
I don't even know how to look at it that way. I mean, I jumped in. So I essentially tried to steal the ball off.
I love it. Yeah.
Classic sports reference.
Exactly.
I thank you. I guess I don't know what to say to that. Okay.
You are
thanks for keeping me on my toes.
So we have a pretty great episode. I mean, they're all great, but this one's going to be great.
It's going to be very fun. Yeah.
Our top 5 today. We'll just do a little bit of a foreshadowing.
Oh, okay.
We did talk about this a little bit in a previous episode many weeks ago.
Like probably over 20 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was in our first 10. We actually talked to this, and it actually, believe it or not, was the forerunner, Halo's on the mind.
Oh, wow.
Of our top 5 lists, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing that sparked everything.
It really kind of did, because I was like top 5X.
The big bang.
And a lot of energy and matter later.
Yeah.
And the universe was created.
Dude, not to get off on a tangent already, but I'm gonna go off because the universe is chaos, nothing matters.
Okay.
But I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. So like during our top 5 planets,
yeah,
I'm getting a lot of like, here's the universe and black holes. Here's multiple realities. Oh, did you know that our trillions of universes are just one little bubble and trillions of other bubbles of trillions of, and it's just like, I don't even know what to, like, it's not cool anymore. I've crossed the threshold. Before it was like, oh, it's cool, like aliens, haha, sweet.
Right.
Now it's like just this deep depression of just nothing. Like you can't even fathom it. And that's like at a certain point, it's just, who cares?
Well, yeah,
no.
That's a very half empty.
No,
way to
it
look
is.
at it,
It is.
I would say.
So let me clearly my mind. So I'm looking at it in terms of who cares, is in like, yeah, no, it's infinite.
We're showing it's
so what?
Insignificant.
Yeah, but like, so what about infinite? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, like you can't travel to another planet. I mean, you can, but you know what I mean. Like, it takes X amount. Like, you can't see Jupiter,
right?
So who cares?
Can't you see it sometimes?
No. I mean, like, we can't. Let's say we have the suits, the tech, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't get there, right?
Cryosleep.
Okay, cryosleep away. Like, it doesn't. Like, our solar system.
Yeah.
Our tiny little speck of a dust solar system.
A crumb.
You can't even see that. So, like, who cares? Like, outside of that,
right?
I know that's very like egocentric, I guess, but like.
I could see
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I can see where the thought process is. It's so large, and that you're incapable of understanding that.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, like, I'm floating through space. I'm floating through nothing. Like, we always talked in Bible study about like, what does forever mean?
Yeah,
it's just like, well, once every 1,000 years, an eagle flies by Earth and nicks it with its wing, and Earth is a giant steel ball, and less than 1 second is. Every 1,000 years, the bird hits it, and eventually that ball turns into a tiny little marble, and that's less than 1 second of forever. And it's like, that's even easier to wrap my head around than like
infinite
the ever-expanding universe. Yeah, it's insane. Like, we're not wired to actually comprehend it.
It's because, everything that we can understand or comprehend has some basis in reality that we can be observed. Infinity can't.
But that's the thing. It's like, time doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't. You're constantly looking at the past on stars. Like, half those stars are gone, and we're just seeing it now. And then even light is only like a certain distance. It was like 13 trillion, blah 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 blah, like some crazy number.
Right.
And it's like we're only seeing that.
Yeah.
And like, there's more beyond that. Like, oh my
Man, you
gosh.
brought the tinfoil out today.
I know, dude. I went anyway. I went a
Love
deep
it.
dark hole, and it's like you started talking about matter, and it's like if it is infinite,
Yeah.
it's like a deck of cards,
Right.
and you're flipping through the cards.
Yeah.
Eventually, the probability is high, like crazy, but eventually, you shuffle the cards enough, you're gonna get like a sequential deck. Like a brand new deck, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So then,
of course.
if the universe is infinite and matter can only be rearranged in a specific way or whatever, like eventually there is this podcast happening in another universe.
I see.
You know what I mean? Like, because
wow.
eventually it's just going to be a carbon copy of this, and like obviously, like
Right.
you have like the different parallel universes and all.
I
this
think
other
we
stuff.
talked about this. Yeah.
It's just right, but I've been.
You think that's where deja vu comes from? Exactly
what I was thinking. Where I'm like,
okay.
I just had that. And I know we talked about this before, but like my deja vu is like
scary
deja vu. But like the thing that makes it scary is the time frame of it,
right?
Like
right.
how long the deja vu happens. Where it's like,
ooh, interesting.
It's long enough where I'm realizing I'm having deja vu and predicting the future of the event that is unfolding in front of me.
Wow.
And it terrifies me. Like
That's
I just had that
awesome,
maybe
though,
like
right?
2 days ago
Really?
where it's like,
wow.
And in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, I think that I'm just on this work loop of we're having the same conversations
right.
over and
right.
over and over, and everyone just responds the same way over. So it's not like true deja vu, but it's just like it still gives off that vibe.
Sure.
It's
my
terrifying.
deja vu is very setting based. Like I've been here before, I've seen this before, which may be the case, but like you say, you get that feeling of I have like had this conversation in this place. But what triggers mine is a specific location. I'm very visual based.
See, I'm the opposite. It's never a location. It's always about the conversation that's happening.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So I mean, that's an interesting.
It's an interesting
discussion.
Intro. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's
like,
good.
It's just,
I mean, you're having. It's kind of funny. You're having YouTube recommend you the Infinite Universe, and for some reason, YouTube recommends me like anime girls and stuff. It's really weird how that kind of works.
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre. It's just random coincidence. But dude, speaking of craziness, I've been keeping a dream journal, and it's kind of funny because I actually sent Tyler one of my snippets. So what will happen is, you'll have a dream, obviously. You know anything about like lucid dreaming?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to get back to that point. I used to do this, and I had a lucid dream once, okay? And it was fucking awesome. I was, do you know where my house is at? It doesn't really matter.
The relative area,
So
sure.
there used to be a gas station right next to my house. So I'm in this gas station, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in a fucking dream. And the reason I knew this is I walk out of the gas station with my bag of chips, and it's snowing. It's like snowing pretty bad. It snows like a couple inches. And I look down and I grab the snow and it's warm. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm in a dream. And I keep the dream, okay? Because that's the toughest part.
Yeah,
Once
you gotta
realize,
stay asleep.
You got to stay asleep. So I'm like walking and I'm like, holy shit, okay, now I can do anything I want. So I walk straight in the middle of the street and there's traffic everywhere. And I just put my arms out, stop time.
Yeah.
It was like the wind's like blowing really fiercely, all the snow, and then boom. Everything
nothing.
stops.
Yeah.
I could only hold it for a couple seconds, and then I woke up. It was fucking amazing, dude. Like one of the best feelings I've ever had. So I'm trying to get back to that point. Keeping a dream journal. So I sent Tyler a snippet of my dream the other day. It was weird, dude.
I don't even like. Normally, it would be like, oh, okay, you write something down. It kind of makes sense ish or whatever.
Right.
But it's like I couldn't even follow that.
Yeah, let me read it really quick, just so the audience can be with me here. So the reason why this is so weird is because so you have many dreams throughout the night, whether you remember them or not. And you I believe you wake up several times throughout the night, and sometimes you don't even remember doing it. Mm-hmm. So what will happen is I'll wake up from one of my sleep cycles and jot down what I can remember about the dream on my phone and then go back to bed. But I'm completely delirious because it's like 3 a.m. or something. So this is what I wrote down a couple nights ago. I sent this to Tyler, and he got a kick out of it. So okay, so I'll just read it verbatim, and then I'll try to deconstruct what it meant. Okay, so this is it verbatim. Had a key worth $100K. Turned it down since it was the wrong thing. I wrote the word hint. It's a typo. For I do. Was able to give it back. Defended the house with sniper, parentheses, dark bullet. told Devin at school next day, hockey playoff on TV. That was my dream. So I do remember some snippets of this. Tyler, would you first like to maybe try to... What is
Dude,
that?
I had no idea. So you mentioned a key. Everyone was getting back into Tarkov. I don't know why my head immediately went there.
Sure.
Where it's just some like crazy key.
Yeah.
Then I was like, did he mean like a kilo of like drugs?
No,
or something
it's
like
KEY.
Yeah.
So is it spelled the same?
I have no idea.
A key of like I don't know.
I assume it wouldn't be, but also
Yeah, I don't know.
people are weird. So
Well,
dude, I have no idea.
so you know how some dreams mean something like you have to go to
dark bullet could be something from like a balloons thing. Like maybe you have some sort of like I don't
Dude,
know.
it was wild. So
Yeah.
So it's funny. I ask you that because you know sometimes dreams mean something like you have to go to the bathroom and that means you're like anxious about something like something I don't know. There's like interpretations of what dreams mean. This one is a little bit more challenging though. So this is what I remember. So there was this guy who gave me this key to a briefcase and I knew the exact amount whatever was in the briefcase was worth. I don't know if it was money or it was very much
You just
like,
had a sixth sense of.
I just knew,
this is
in
valuable.
dreams you just kind of know things.
Yeah.
So I got this key to this briefcase and I'm like walking around and I instantly realized I was like, fuck, I got to give this key back. Like this is wrong. Maybe I stole it or something was wrong about the way I got this.
Okay.
Or what's in it or how I obtained it or how the person obtained it who gave it to me or something. So everyone's after me trying to get this case or this key and I like escape and then meet this guy and give it back. But then everyone still thinks I have it. So I'm like defending my house and I guess I had a sniper and I had like a dark bullet and it was like they were weak against darkness or something.
Yeah.
I just knew it. I was like, oh fuck, I got to use darkness. No idea what game that's from. Like fucking.
So I was going to
no
originally
clue.
try to, and we got to tiptoe around this now because if you're talking about sniping people, obviously this is all in a dream. This is not real life. We aren't.
Of course,
saying anything about
I don't
that.
own a sniper.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
This is, yeah, exactly.
But it was like, okay, what if this is something where like maybe you got like a, and I'm pulling this out of my ass, but like, you got a promotion at work that maybe you don't think you deserve, or you're getting more out of something than you think is. You know, like you deserve it. Like it's something attributed to your skill or whatever.
That's an excellent point because I have been noticing a little bit of a pattern in my dreams. I'm always being chased. Mm-hmm. Not always, but a lot of the time I'm being chased or I'm in a very stressful situation where I'm on the run. So that might be fraud syndrome, right? Where I don't feel like I deserve what I have. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, I'll just read this other one here because I got a kick out of this one too. And then we can move on. So, passed my assassin's exam, parentheses, driving part, pick up a package from my contact's house. He had a son, 8 years old, made me a chicken sandwich, paid him $100 for a package and $10 for sandwich. Guy tried to mug me and my partner. We threw him off a bridge.
So you have an assassin partner.
I did. I can't remember who. So this is another interesting. So I actually, you're kind of watching all these videos about the universe. I've been watching a lot of video about dreams because I find it fascinating. We don't know pretty much anything about dreams. We know that we have to sleep. We know it's important for us to reset our body and things like that. But the mechanics of sleeping are a vast mystery. Like sleep science is very early stages of understanding. So why I said that was, you can't make up a person in your dream. You've seen everyone in your dreams at some point in your life. Like an image or
like even subconsciously, you've seen them, even though you don't recognize them. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, people say that you dream in black and white too, and
that's not true.
That's not true at all. So I don't.
Yeah, maybe what I said wasn't
right?
true. I feel like it was a reputable source. Reputable. So yeah, that one's a little bit more straightforward. I just remember I got this big chicken sandwich, man. Yeah. It was like a double decker. It was awesome.
It was worth 10 though, according to your dreams.
I gave 100 for the package and 10 for the chicken sandwich.
Are we talking dollars? Is that the currency?
I don't know. I didn't specify. I'm going to assume dollars. I gave him 100. I can't remember if it was a
package and cheap chicken sandwich. I feel like if you're like
$10 chicken sandwich,
yeah,
that's almost double what Chick-fil-A
I feel like we go to like a Thornhill like bar or something that's gonna be more than $10.
Chick-fil-A is like what, $4 or $5 just for the sandwich?
Yeah, but it's not a big sandwich like you're saying.
So that's
like
pretty
big.
much. I got two. Well, it was a homemade sandwich.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm a cheapskate as an assassin, but what's he gonna fucking do? I just passed my driver's portion of my assassin exam, bro.
The classic drivers.
It was a tough exam because it was downpouring, and that's why I couldn't do it. I couldn't get the last turn because I kept fucking spinning out, but I finally got it.
How's your where's your wheel at? Is it gonna be here soon?
Yes, Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So or tomorrow. So I will be driving by the time this comes out. So yeah, that was good. Anyways, those are my dreams. The guy who bugged me was naked.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's just a little.
I just remember those details. I didn't write it down because I wanted it to be pure, like authentic, like 3 a.m. John.
Yeah.
Writing it down, but
I told you about the naked guy trying to pee macaroni and cheese on me, right? And I was running from him. Oh, that's the kind of dreams I have.
Oh,
so
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's real gross.
If we like this segment, I think it might be fun. You'll have to start doing it too.
Yeah,
of
no,
course.
I could do that.
I think it'd be a fun segment to
Dude,
hey, what would Nick pick a dream from this week that you found interesting?
My dreams typically only happen if I'm sick, if I've just eaten before bed, or if I actually have like we go to bed like at a decent time, which doesn't typically happen.
Right.
But if I go to bed like 10 or 11 or something and have like a full night's sleep,
right,
especially on the weekends,
yeah,
I'll typically have a dream.
Yeah, so I think the assassin dream came when I was feeling a little bit under the weather, so I definitely understand that.
I'm constantly having dreams of like I'm trying to like hit the brake, right? Like I'm trying to brake in a car for some reason and I can't, which is just like, oh, you feel like you're out of control. Like, okay, like basic stuff. I dream about scorpions a lot for whatever reason. That's fairly recent, yeah. So
I don't know what it does.
I don't know.
And how do people determine what dreams mean? Like, there's no scientific basis on it.
That's
right?
what I mean. It's like almost like horoscopes or something. I'm sure we're pissing someone off.
Well, you can be intuitive about it. Like, yeah, the brake thing, that totally makes sense. Like, if you're falling in a lot of your dreams, that's like you're, you know, you have no control.
My lucid dreaming, the only 2 times I did the lucid dreaming, one was flying, where it was like
I've always wanted to do that.
Like I felt different, and I was like, I could just jump off these stairs and just keep going. So I literally just jumped off, and there was my parents' house, and jumped off the stairs and just flew out the door and just kept going. And like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't fly high because I don't like heights, but like I just kind of like skimmed along. It was almost like hovering. Yeah. So that was fun. And then the other one was just the ability to like fast forward time, kind of like how you stop time. Mine was doing like a fast forward thing where like I win the lottery, right? And it's like, oh, I have more money than I know what to do with. But I also know that this is a dream, and if I wake up, I lose all of this. So then it turns into just like Tyler's greatest hits of just like scrubbing forward, of just like, okay, now I'm in like making this. It wasn't this, but like I'm in an amusement park and I own it now, and I like snap. It's just like suddenly I'm there and I'm like the king of everything. It's stupid, but like that's
amazing. I like that.
2 times I remember. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Yeah, dude, I'll never forget that, man. It was very cinematic. Everything just froze. Yeah, I felt like a superhero.
Matrix coming out on the 22nd.
Have you played that demo yet? There's a technical demo.
I think it's just Xbox and PS5.
Oh,
right?
Is it? Yeah,
I think so.
That would make sense.
I don't think it's on PC yet.
Dude, PC gets the short end of the stick.
Do you feel weird going to see The Matrix when it's literally going to be on HBO?
No. I enjoy watching, like going to the movie theater.
I do too, especially for Spider-Man. I'm jacked. Like Spider-Man is such a hard thing to not get spoiled at this point.
Yeah.
Like already there's YouTube videos like the story explained, and I'm like, let's tell me more about parallel universes. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's going to be very, very tough for whenever we end up seeing Spider-Man. But like The Matrix, it's like it's actiony, I guess. So I assume it would make sense on the big screen.
Right.
But there's a small part of me. It's like I could save $20.
See, you weren't big on The Matrix, so I can understand what your thought process behind that. Yeah. But Matrix was pretty.
Well, let me put it this way: I love John Wick. I've seen all the John Wicks in theater. If
you told me
John
about
Wick 4 came out.
Okay,
I would kind of just watch it on HBO. I think. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I take that back. Then I don't know why you would be like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Even Star Wars. I will say there was a correlation when going back on the Marvel movies and stuff.
Yeah.
There was an absolute correlation on the ones I saw in theaters versus not.
Yeah.
And the ones I did not see in theaters, generally speaking, my initial impression of them was much less. So then rewatching everything on the same television, the same surround sound, everything like that,
right.
I think flattened the
The curve.
The curve a little bit, yeah.
So how long would it take for you to reset to be able to watch Marvel again?
A very long time.
Okay.
I like Spider-Man. I would. That being said, I would watch Thor and I would watch Spider-Man right now.
Okay, interesting.
Because I like those movies so much.
So I was thinking about doing a Marvel May next year, where I run through the gauntlet that is the MCU.
Yeah.
And then we can finally have our top 5 Marvel movies.
Yeah, you can do that.
You need the alliteration, first of all.
Yeah.
And second
obviously.
of all, I need the time to prepare my body.
I was going to say May is a little bit more, like you could do March, Marvelous March or something like
Marvelous
that.
March.
But you also have March Madness. I feel like we can do something
True.
like that.
Yeah. No, always. Also, next year I want to do a Disney December.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't someone doing that?
Probably, but
Okay.
I want us to do it so that we can get a proper list out.
Of, like, what's the parameters?
That would be tough, and we'd have to talk about that. Obviously, we need to watch all of the princess movies.
Yeah.
Pixar.
Oh, Pixar's included in that?
You might have to separate those two.
I think
so. There might be a
separate
couple
that
lists there. So it'd be princess movies, Pixar movies,
Yeah.
and I don't know, other things. We can figure it
Star
out.
Wars,
We have a year.
Star Wars movies.
Maybe we already have that.
Yeah, we already have that. Thank God.
But speaking of movies, there's a game we're playing.
Yes.
Right. And Halo Infinite.
Well, so
I should have said speaking of Infinite. What the fuck's wrong with me?
No.
Speaking of the Infinite Universe.
Real quick before we jump into Halo.
Sure.
We did talk about, I feel like talking about the Final Fantasy PC
sure,
thing.
sure,
We just want to, we did get it. We're going to wait on our story impressions and everything until we have Kyle in and we actually talk through like the original and the remake.
Yeah, so season 2 of the Couch Company podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit, is going to be starting next year.
Yep.
Calendar year, because we can't be bothered to figure out when we actually started this and don't want to wait either. So the plan for season 2 is to start to involve some guests on some episodes. Maybe not every week, but a couple here and there. And we've been planning on this for a while, is having our good friend Kyle on, the biggest Final Fantasy VII fan we know.
Yep.
And I think that'll be a very good one.
We've been waiting a long time because Final Fantasy VII was only on the PlayStation up until this point.
Exactly.
And then at the Game Awards, like we talked about last week, they said, hey, in a week, it's coming out on PC. Got it on PC. The only reason we're bringing it up is because largely it is what you get. You have two options. You have high or low in the settings. And you could pick your frame rate between up like 30 to up to, I think, 120 or something like that.
So I watched a video on this today, and it was really interesting. And I'm going to mess up all the terminology because I don't know anything about anything.
Okay.
But the frame limiter, I guess, is what you would call it, also acts as like a resolution scaler. But it doesn't say that in there. So
interesting.
The way he was explaining it is he was on 4K at 120. But some of the background imaging wasn't as good. And then when he turned it down to 60 frames, the background resolution turned
So it's all, so they have the dynamic resolution on there, they have the limiter, and it's all based off of, that's very interesting.
That's stupid.
Stupid, but that's good to know because now instead of just, because I just hit it 120, because I'm like,
that's what I did too.
Unlimited.
Right.
Now I just jump it down to 90.
Exactly.
And it should be better.
It should be better. I think it looks very good.
It looks great. And in a weird way, and I know this is completely counterintuitive to what a PC gaming should be.
Right.
Because you want all the knobs, right? You want to be able to tweak and do whatever.
Right.
But there was something nice about going into the settings, being like, oh, do I want high or low?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right. And it's not like a whole bunch of high or lows. It's like two or three things. Yeah. And it's like, all right, I want high, please.
It's literally high, low, how many people you want on screen.
Yeah, which I don't even know what that means.
I think it's just how many people are rendered in like those big crowds. It's up to 10 people.
Okay, well, I'd put that up to 10, whatever. But
right.
We did that, and then it was like, all right, well,
resolution.
It just works. Everything's good. Like it runs fine. It was the most console-like experience I had on PC, but the beauty is it ran well, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
So...
What resolution are you running it at? 1440?
1440, yeah.
So I was running at 1440, but I put it on 4K because I was running on 1440 and my card was only using like 60%.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck this, dude. We're just going to do 4K. So I guess I was looking at NVIDIA settings. And again, excuse my ignorance. I don't know a lot, although I'm interested to learn more about it. So when you're displaying a 4K, obviously my monitor is a 1440. So I guess it upscales it, or like it displays a 4K resolution, but downscales it to match my monitor.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct. Now, if you have the option, because I do know that you can have the option to go above it. Even I have the option to go above 2K, which is our monitor's limitation.
That's what GeForce says. When you go into the options, it says it's displaying at 4K, but it is downscaling it to match my native resolution.
And I don't know if NVIDIA has it. This was something that they came out with on Dying Light, I think was one of the first games to do this. But they did this kind of downscaling thing where it was super sampled, but then downscaled, so it looked just sharper. I assume the technology is still there if NVIDIA is the one saying hey, no, you should bump this up.
Right.
And I assume that they're using their proprietary tech for that.
Well,
but again, none of this is being stated in the settings.
No, exactly.
So
and that's why I was kind of lost. I had to do a little bit of research. I was like, is this going to look worse? It looked fine. The proportion's great and it looks a lot better in 4K. So that must be built in. It must be.
But on the flip side, if dynamic resolution is built in,
right,
then either that might be, again, kind of contradicting each other. You might be getting some weird artifacting and stuff like that. Or it might be worth you just rendering in 1440, which gets you that higher frame rate, but it also keeps the resolution high. Because if you don't have a choice, because there is no toggle on dynamic resolution.
Right.
So if what you're saying with the different frame rates and saying, okay, I want to target 120, which now that I think about it makes sense, because there were some instances in the I'm saying open world, hub world, whatever you want, the village, where I'm like, oh, Cloud's hair looks way more pixelated in this scene than previous
That's
scenes.
one of the biggest things I noticed when I bumped it up to 4K. His hair looks fantastic.
Yeah. So maybe I take a look at that.
Just take a look at it, see what you think. I personally found a lot more success, and it was still 120 butter smooth. It just looked
but you
better.
also have a very good graphics card too, so it would just be kind of testing it out.
I would be curious what you think about that, because I kind of went down the rabbit hole a little bit on that. A lot of people feel like this dynamic resolution is kind of the future, how you're going to get those good frame rates out of 4K rather than just kind of improving the hardware, just getting more and more. The analogy that I found really useful for myself is when we talk about cars, I know you're not a car guy, but you should understand this one. So when we talk about cars,
thanks.
We want to be able to drive longer without having to fill up, right?
Yeah.
So what they're doing in the industry, or have been doing, is just making the gas tank bigger every time.
Right.
But you can see where that you'd run into problems. There's going to be a wall that you're going to hit there, and so we make fuel more efficient. We make engines more efficient. We make them not even use fuel, like alternative solutions to that kind of problem. And I think that's what that kind of thing is.
Essentially you're offloading a lot of that computing power to servers that then spit back.
Is that called DLSS?
That is an option, which again, other Final Fantasy 15 was a great example and great implementation of DLSS.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if
they snuck it. Well, I wish it was
had it in
more transparent. Because
and we talked about Digital Foundry probably not doing this because there were so limited options. But if they have all of this stuff hidden, where it's like, do you want high or low, and then we'll take care of everything for you to give you the best experience. Yeah, I think that's something that Digital Foundry would eat up. So
I think they would too, and they always love comparing it back to the console models. Is something we saw in their Halo Infinite one. So I could definitely see it, because I watched one of those videos today where he was showing that, and that was really fascinating. I'll send that over to you after the cast.
Cool.
But stay tuned for that video.
It runs great. I don't know. I'm enjoying my time with it. Cannot wait to talk about it. Yeah,
me too. I think it's gonna be great. I said this before. I think we have the perfect perspective variety for this kind of discussion, where you have Kyle, grew up with it, played it in '97, lifelong fan, and then played the remake. You have me, who watched the remakes, played it, for lack of better terms. I saw everything that it had to offer, went back to play the original, and now I'm actually playing it for the first time here. And then you have Tyler, who played the original first in 2020, and then
2021, right?
Was that this year?
I think it was this year.
Oh wow, in 2021, and then now he's getting to play the remake. So we have all three varieties covered across the spectrum. I think that's gonna be fascinating.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be awesome. I did throw Kyle a bone and played the initial part. I was just kind of streaming it on Discord.
Oh, I see.
This needs to be something I do myself.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stick with it. I told
you that to begin with. You gotta now. This is all up to you. If you want to record yourself and show Kyle your reactions to things, by all means. That's something you can decide.
I want to have this kind of personal experience with it.
I think there's something about that.
The one quick thing that I will say is the introduction to Aerith was good. I guess we're calling her Aerith now because she is Aerith in.
Kyle knows the
remake.
backstory to this. I think there was a mistranslation or typo or something.
So Aerith it is.
It's supposed to be Aerith.
Yeah. So you meet her and everything. I did take the flower, so I'm trying to play it by the rules and everything.
Bitch.
Yeah.
That's because Kyle was there. That's the only fucking reason.
No, it's because I misread the two labels. So I did all that. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to fall in love with Aerith. I'm going to play this and try to recondition my brain as much as I can, not to know all the future comings, right? And it was just like, this is just me playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time, new game, whatever.
Yeah.
And I get through all that, and then I get to the point where I'm meeting Tifa for the first time. She waves me over. I'm like, God,
it's
damn
over.
It.
Yeah,
I was like, no, it's Tifa. I don't care about you.
I will be curious about this, and we'll get into this more.
Yeah.
But the three Avalanche members that you have, so much fucking better. Like
they are fantastic. Yeah. And Wedge, I actually paused it and looked at his voice actor up, who is from Breaking Bad. And a lot of other things. I can't forget his name.
I don't know his name.
Tom something maybe.
By heart. He's fantastic though.
Yeah, but I heard his voice and I was like, that's got to be him. Like 100%.
I did the same thing when I was watching the Let's Play for the first time. I was like,
also,
I know the voice.
I was laughing at Kyle. I'm like, so I'm glad they got Charlie Sheen to be Biggs.
Yeah, exactly.
His face and his mannerisms.
Young Charlie Sheen, man, like Major League, bro. He's a handsome fella.
Yeah, what a great.
Jesse's fantastic. I love Jessie. Yep. She's awesome. And man, when you play it more, you're gonna fall in love with them. I
just started doing kind of like the dumb little mercenary. Like I'm
about the same point. Yeah, I stopped about the same point.
And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
So Halo, right?
Yeah. So let's move on to Halo. So we both recently just completed the campaign
on Game Pass. If you want to save $60.
Yeah, Game Pass is fantastic. I was always skeptical about it, but man, it is so worth.
I would love to go back through the past 31 weeks, man. That's crazy.
I know.
I would love to go past the past 31 weeks and take where we started with me kind of like pitching Game Pass and where you were just like, yeah, whatever. To now, we're like, this is the best thing ever.
Dude, it's literally like if we ever got sponsored by Game Pass, which it never will happen, but if we ever did, I know the advertisement we're going to have. Yeah. It's going to start off with, hey, Tyler, do you play 2 games a year?
Yep.
Well, I got a deal for you.
That was one of the things that got glossed over on the Game Awards was it's now PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass. It's no longer Xbox Game Pass for PC. Yeah, they changed it finally to make it a little bit better.
Because PC getting love and we were talking about before.
Microsoft does not name things right. Like they are not great.
Well, they were kind of poking fun at themselves for that, right? Because they had the 2. I can't remember who they had in that. It was 2 rappers. Yeah, fuck. I know who this guy is. It's the one dude from
Dave
Philly
or whatever. Yeah.
Oh man, my friends are gonna kill me because, anyways. So yeah, that's really good to see. PC always gets the short end of the stick. I'm hoping we're kind of moving in a direction where PC. I mean, for the remake, for example, and I only bring this up so much because something we were looking at, thoroughly and excited for. It was only about a year and a half before we got that, right? Whereas you look at something like a Horizon Zero Dawn, which I played this year. That was 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
2016?
Yep.
Or 2017.
Yeah, and God of War came out in 2018. We're getting that in January.
Exactly. So I'm hoping we're seeing kind of a shift to, hey, there's an audience for PC only, and let's put in an effort to port these games. Quality ports, but also in a timely manner.
And it depends on what the quality port is. If it's like the other thing that we really didn't talk through is like Final Fantasy VII is a $70 game. To my knowledge, it's the first game that the base game is $69.99 on PC.
I will say it includes the DLC. So you're getting that DLC on PlayStation was what?
My only
$15?
argument to that is so did Horizon.
Sure. Yeah.
Which was a $60 Actually, Horizon was $50, right? $49.99, I think.
I got it on sale, so I don't know what they originally.
And I guess technically the Epic Store sale is going on right now.
But again, that's a game that's 4 years old. So even then, that's a pretty hefty. Because think about a game that's launched on PC that's 4 years old. I mean, you're going to get that at 50% off on a holiday sale or something.
I guess my thing is
like a Red Dead.
But look at but certain games hold their value, and this is a whole other conversation.
Yeah, sure, that's a good point.
But like look at Guardians, right? That just won. I think it's half price already.
I mean, that's not a Game of the Year contender though, like it was. Horizon, like
it won Best Story or whatever.
What this Game of Year sucked, bro. It was so bad.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm just saying
that game's not that good.
It wasn't that bad either.
Have you played it yet? Are you gonna?
No,
take a stab at it?
I think I am though.
Is it on Game Pass or no?
No.
Oh, it's on Epic Store.
It is. Right. So it depends on like I get off on the 22nd and then I'm off till the next year. So I feel like I can put some time into Final Fantasy, knock that out, and then maybe do like a Guardians.
That's a good plan.
Cleanser. Yeah.
Speaking of video games, though.
Speaking of video games.
And the infinite expanse of the universe.
Yes.
And our meaningless existence. We played a game to try to fulfill ourselves in that meaningless void.
Yes.
And that game is entitled Halo Infinite. We both finished the campaign.
No colon. Apparently, it was a big sticking point. I was reading up a lot on this Halo thing. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not Halo : Infinite.
Right.
It is Halo Infinite.
Infinite. Yeah. One phrase.
Yeah, where it says Halo 5 : Guardians.
Right.
This is
I see.
Halo Infinite.
They want no relation to Halo 5 at all.
I think if you were to ask certain people, that's probably the sentiment, more or less.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it was on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And we both did complete it. And it felt good. It kind of reminds you how it feels good to finish a game.
I do it so rarely anymore that I agree with you. Yeah,
I do it rarely as well, but that's because I'm hesitant to even start it. Like, I know that we have different philosophies where if I start something, I usually almost always finish it. Yep. But I rarely start the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
That's
so
fair.
I'm always the guy who's like, yep, finally got Sea of Thieves, guys. Oh, wait, nobody plays it anymore? Fuck. You know, that's always been me. I did not get Sea of Thieves, by the way. Guys.
Well, technically, you have Game Pass. Okay, but
true.
What did you? So Halo Infinite, people are touting it as a kind of this soft reboot,
right?
What are your initial impressions of it?
I will say
I don't know how you want to break
this.
this out, like graphics, sound, whatever.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can get into it, but I will say this about. Let's just start with the story because I kind of want to relate this to something. I recently, and by recently I mean yesterday, just watched a complete recap of Halo's lore.
Okay.
It is wild.
Now, when you say Halo's lore, are you talking just the games?
No.
Or like books, all that stuff
like
too?
In the beginning, like apparently we were spacefaring humans, and
Way
then
back,
we got wiped out because the flood got too rampant, and they put us on Earth.
Yeah.
And we were tribal. And that was the start of our civilization.
Yeah, so for
today.
people who are not into the Halo lore, essentially, and this is almost like a Mass Effect Reaper situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like, okay, everything that you know now, so like humans and civilization and everything,
right?
Think about us, but like years and years more advanced, right? And we get to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, there's this parasitic thing.
Right.
What do we do? Oh, let's essentially Noah's Ark ourselves. And all the human DNA and like all these different alien DNAs and stuff like that are essentially cataloged, preserved as digital like fragments, basically.
Yep.
And then you just nuke the entire universe.
Yeah. So the first Halo array was set up, which is like 5 rings, I think.
Yeah.
And they destroy everything.
Specifically sentient life. So like the planets are fine, everything's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So all sentient life gone, and then the essentially just robots just start dropping us back where we belong. Yeah. But as like cave people.
Exactly. So I guess my point is it's fucking wild. I encourage you. There's a nice like 30-minute video on YouTube if you want to check it out. Just all the games, Halo Wars 1 and 2, all the books, just everything the lore entails. from start to finish. So anyways, that video came out in 2019, and it left off, I believe Halo Wars 2 is the last thing we have to see. Or maybe it was Halo 5. Maybe it was Halo 5.
19... Well, it's been...
Well, even, I think Halo Wars 2 came out before Halo 5.
Yeah.
But it's in chronological order. And
I see what you're saying.
It might take place after. I'm not 100% sure. I believe that's what it was, but if I'm incorrect, I apologize. Anyways, so where it leaves off is right where Halo Infinite picks up. So I don't see where you're saying it's a soft reboot of the whole situation.
Yeah, well...
It's very much linked to what happened.
Look at God of War. God of War I consider a soft reboot. A lot of people said it was a soft reboot, where they acknowledge what has happened up to this point, but the gameplay, you would argue, is like changed a little bit. Like they added, like it's now kind of like a, for lack of a better term, like open world experience. You have like the new grappling hooks and different things, which we'll talk about. But it's doing kind of a nod to like, okay, yeah, no, this stuff happened, but it's like piecing some of that stuff together and doing way more to like introduce you to the new characters and why you should care more about the current AI that you're kind of carting around.
So I will disagree with you on the fact that I could see God of War as a soft reboot more because he's in a different, for lack of better terms, universe now.
Yeah.
Different mythology.
Yep.
So as there are references to the past, they're not directly influenced on what is currently happening in the story.
So
But in Halo, it is.
It is.
We're dealing with the aftermath of what literally just happened in the previous titles.
Yes. So to catch everybody up, if you're not up on your Halo lore.
So I guess at this point we should probably just put a spoiler warning out there.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So real quick, spoilers. We'll put it all in the timestamps.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk in depth about everything.
Yeah. So if you want to avoid spoilers, sorry.
Yeah, you can skip to our top five.
Yeah, skip to the top 5.
We'll really have to make sure that we have time to put the top 5. So with Halo, the whole thing was, it was like Halo 1, 2, and 3 is like the trilogy, right? So you have the Covenant come down, which are a bunch of aliens. Humans are fighting the aliens. Then they find out, oh no, there's an even greater threat called the Flood.
Yep,
it destroys everything. All this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's a good kind of wrapped up thing. Then Bungie leaves, right? And then 343 Studios takes over the Halo mantle. So Bungie goes and starts off Destiny. 343 starts it in, and they're like, all right, well, how do we make this our own? And the main story beats on the 343 saga, which is technically 4, 5, and you can kind of say infinite. It's, okay, Cortana, being an artificial intelligence, she becomes rampant after 7 years, which means she just starts going crazy and you have to delete her, basically. It was explained to me that the AIs think themselves to death. They just think too much. So she starts going crazy. Exactly. And in Halo 4, to my knowledge, is a year after that 7-year mark. So she's already a year into the start of her rampancy.
Right, exactly.
So that Halo 4 thing and the way 343 was doing is, okay, well, we already kind of concluded the Covenant stuff. What if we can just make a new bad guy and like, oh, hey, here's this Forerunner who wants to essentially turn, it's very much Mass Effect in the way of like, let's turn all sentient beings into robot people instead.
It does make sense though, because you have a parasitic organism that, obviously needs a what's it called?
But humans are stubborn. They're like, no, we like humans as humans and don't
because
do
there's a big philosophical thing. But I guess it's important to mention too, there's those two species that kind of precede everything, which is the Forerunners and the Precursors, I think.
Yeah.
So those are kind of important things because a lot of stuff happens before Halo 1.
Right.
That we
But it's this idea of a cycle where it's just you have this constant like, oh, the Flood come, you destroy everything and you start over. Yeah. So this is kind of like round 2, basically.
Now, in Halo 4, the big bad guy, he's a Forerunner, correct?
He is a Forerunner. He is the Forerunner's
he was the guy
biggest...
that was locked on that planet. It was kind of encapsulated there.
Right, that the Master Chief accidentally opened up.
Exactly.
And he was the best warrior of the Forerunners.
And he's also the guy in which Tyler is talking about trying to create an army of
Yes,
artificial.
I think his name is the Didact
Yes,
or whatever. Dude, they throw around so many terms.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing with the Halo universe is which is kind of a cool thing, but like every race has a different term for the same thing.
Right.
So
which is natural. That's what would happen.
But
right,
like
exactly.
if you have one person calling you like the Master Chief and the other person is calling you Redeemer or Reclaimer and the other person is calling you Demon and like it's just like it's hard to kind of comprehend.
Yeah, right.
But this is 343's way of saying like, okay, well, since the Covenant story is basically wrapped up and you kind of won and you don't want to like tear that wound open because it kind of negates what happened in 1, 2, and 3, which is such a great, well-regarded trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we need a new bad guy. We need a new kind of issue with like Cortana and different things like that. So what they do is they make Cortana rampant. At the end of 4, Cortana sacrifices herself. You think she's dead, basically,
right,
to save Master Chief, to kill off the Didact, and 4 is just kind of this like kind of I would say ends on a somewhat down note of like, oh, Master Chief survived, but at what cost?
So I believe it's Master Chief and Arbiter team up to take him down, and they're trying to escape. Cortana stays to save them. The ship gets split in half.
Yeah.
So you have Master Chief floating through space, and we don't know what's happening to him, and then Arbiter makes it back to Earth, I think.
Yes.
Because, they made it halfway through the teleport or something. Sorry.
Which is kind of the same thing. Well, so that's starting to sound a little bit like 3, and I get a little fuzzy on all those. But yeah, sure. Like it always ends the same way, where Master Chief's frozen and waiting. Basically.
Yes,
when you
exactly.
look at it.
That's true.
And then with 5, it's Master.
Is that the end of 3? I don't think so.
Arbiter goes back to Earth and he's split.
Maybe Arbiter's not in 4. Yeah.
I believe Arbiter is in 5. If I'm
he
not
is in
mistaken.
5. Yeah, I think that's my mistake. Sorry, I'll just let you go.
No, that's fine. I just tried to roll with with whatever retelling. And then with 5, and I apologize because we will get back to Infinite.
Yep.
And then 5 is Cortana actually kind of survives. Yeah. And preserves herself, but now she's years into rampancy and is like, you know what, AIs do it better. The classic machines are better than humans.
Yep.
And she's just going to enslave everyone and says, hey, guess what? We're going to take all away pain, suffering, all that stuff, and just bow the knee and everything will be good.
Right.
So a lot of these AIs are going to her cause and stuff, and then the chief is like, well, I need to find her and try to get her back.
Yep.
So he's defecting from the UNSC, and then they send a team to get him. And this was it was in my mind, it was a compelling story of like, ooh, what's happening, what's going on, and stuff.
Yeah.
Did they make good on any of that stuff? Not so much. And you play a Halo game, you want to play as Master Chief.
Exactly.
I think some series do it better, where it's like, oh, well, if you're not playing as Marcus Phoenix, it's not the worst thing in like Gears of War,
right?
But with Halo is Master Chief and Cortana.
Exactly.
And I think 343 knew this, and Halo 5 is regarded as
the worst one, easily.
Story. Yeah. So all that being said, at the end of 5, it's this very open-ended, like, all right, I guess Cortana's the bad guy.
Right.
And that's where Infinite picks up.
Yep.
Where it opens, you see Master Chief getting his ass kicked by one of these big brutes, Atriox, which is... It's cool. They do the Destiny thing of like the main character gets just absolutely just dismantled.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was
pinpoint accuracy, just destroyed.
Yep.
And he has to deal with that kind of failure. And the whole idea is Master Chief is sent there with a copy of Cortana now, who her expressed deal is let's lock down the quote unquote real Cortana.
Yep.
And delete her.
Delete her. Right.
Yeah. And that's kind of where it opens up and stuff. So you have this Cortana, like this fake Cortana who's known as the Weapon.
Yep.
It's an interesting story, but the reason why I was saying it is a soft reboot, and you made great points on the God of War thing where it's like, oh, it's a different time, it's a different land, it's a different gameplay style, all that stuff. My thing is when you're looking at what 343 is doing, even if you're looking at stuff like... they're really taking inspiration from the original game, where it's like, hey, remember the original game and what the Halo looked like, and Cortana and Master Chief, and remember what Master Chief looked like? They took Master Chief's armor from 4 and 5 and just completely changed it back to essentially what was in 2 and 3.
Right.
And for better or worse, like he looks good. It looks like a good Master Chief. It's cool. It's more classic, I guess.
Right.
But there's no lore there, so it's like you're breaking off. You're doing this kind of like, oh yeah, don't worry about 4 and 5 for that thing. His look, the story, aside from Cortana, which they touch on, but the end of, and not to jump all the straight to the end, but it's like you don't fight the Covenant, you don't fight the Didact, you don't fight any of the new enemies and different things like that. None of the new weapons that they introduced in 4 and 5. It's like they're doing this very hard split of like, oh right, you like Halo. And then it's like, well, the Covenant's beat, so what can we do? Oh, let's take the Banished, which is like a faction of the Covenant that don't like the Covenant and don't like anything else, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's like they need this new enemy. So then throughout the entire game, they're like, all right, we're going to serve you up this this Banished thing, which, for lack of a better term, is just the Covenant enemies, right?
Yeah.
And the entire narrative is like, well, okay, so we don't have the Flood, because technically we already beat the Flood. And we don't have the Covenant because we already beat the Covenant, but we need something of a Flood level. Ooh, what about the Endless? And I'm not making fun of the story because the story is kind of intriguing. Like, I'm actually interested in it.
Sure.
But then to think, oh, well, on this ring, this is different. This is like housing this kind of ancient terror that's even worse than the Flood. And to me, they never make good on it. And the thing, like, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, this is going to be DLC because they have Halo : Endless. So there's a whole video conspiracy of like, because they have the colon there, it's going to be a DLC thing. So it's Halo Infinite and then it's Halo : Endless whole thing.
Right.
But it's just like they leave it very, very open ended. And it's just like they kind of tie off that Cortana story. And it's just like, oh, Cortana has a change of heart. And she did all of this stuff to get Master Chief on this ring to then save everything, which he kind of does. And it's like, cool. And then Cortana just is dead. She's gone. But the replacement is, hey, here's a copy of Cortana who's going to name herself Cortana. And it's like this we got around the rampancy. We got around all the extra stuff we tried throwing at you. Here's essentially a reset. Enjoy. That's kind of where, I don't know.
I see where your head's at with that. I will point out a couple of things. So the Banished and stuff were introduced before Halo Infinite came out. So
yeah, no, right. They were in
like this
the
stuff's
wars.
all
sure.
Like actual
and I'm
stuff,
not saying it's bad.
Same with the Endless or whatever they're called, right? Like that's stuff that's, been talked about previously.
So that's a good thing. Is the Endless, have they been talked about?
Yes. Because it was in, like I said, I watched the lore video and pretty sure you mentioned the Endless. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But that was from 2019.
Interesting. So that's news to me. I knew about like obviously with the Banished and stuff on
I can
Halo
double
Wars.
check that, but I'm pretty sure that they are somewhere in that meat pie of a lot of alien races are doing things. But okay, a lot to unpack there.
Yeah,
you have very strong feelings.
I'm not down on the game. I love the game.
Okay, so I'll start with the characters because that's my favorite. And so I totally get where you're coming out with weapon / new Cortana. I thought it was really stupid that she wants to name herself Cortana because literally 15 minutes earlier, she's watching this AI that she's a copy of literally murder a planet. Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, is this me? I don't want to do this. Am I going to become this? And then you name yourself after her? That seems so stupid. Like, that's an amazing opportunity for you to differentiate yourself from Cortana. Like, I'm not her. I am different. I am my own being.
It's worth mentioning. She never technically says
I
her
will
name
say
is
that,
Cortana.
Yeah, right. But she says, she turns to Chief. She's like, is it okay? Like, what else could it be?
Like, is it too soon?
I'm going to name myself Jon. Unless it's Jon or Cortana. Like, what?
I mean, it could be Jon. It could be Cortana. It could be Samuel, right? Like, it could be, like, there are a bunch of different...
How do you feel about Sergeant Johnson?
What about Halsey? Like,
Halsey,
there are a lot of options.
Fuck Halsey,
technically.
Man. She's the worst.
They very much let you believe that she's just going to name herself Cortana.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it implies to me and every other person. So, I mean, whatever. Master Chief's fantastic.
Yes.
And he's easily the bright spot in this game in terms of characters. He's my favorite character in the game. It seems to me, and we did play Halo 1, but it seems to me that he's a little more active, more lines, more engaged a little bit, but still cool, calm, collected, classic Chief that we know and love. And he's fantastic.
I liked his lines. I liked some of the humor. I think that a lot of his stuff works. So actually the weapon, so Cortana 2.0, whatever you want to call her, I think she is actually my favorite character, I would say.
Really?
And only because like I was very worried it was going to be overdone of just like, oh, I'm this ditzy new AI and I'm so naive and young and whatever. But she was pretty pretty good, and she was kind of like learning, and you almost put it in the shoes of like, okay, well, if this is, and I always go back to my nephew because he's obviously young. He's like, okay, well, he's never played any of their Halos, so if he's coming into this game, that's every new player is essentially her. So all the questions she's asking, all the clarification she's doing, and like the thought processes, you would assume that that's most people going through that if they've never played the other games.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I didn't think about that. That's
so
kind of
like
cool.
You have her for them, you have Chief for us, where it's like, oh, he's gone through some stuff,
right?
And this is just him being like stubborn Master Chief, like mission only, just you get through it. And I thought that was a cool dynamic, but I think the only reason it's a cool dynamic is because you need both of them. Without Cortana, like Chief was very kind of like one note. And I mean, granted, that's 4 and 5 story, and it wasn't super great, but like you need that connection with Cortana.
you need the other side of the coin, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely, I was not as high on Weapon as you were. I found it a little bit too much for my liking. Just the ditziness or the just kind of. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it was a bit much for me.
And maybe my expectations were just, it was going to be so far in that direction. It was pulled back more than I thought.
Yeah, I would have liked it just a tad more serious when it came to that. Nothing that, makes me despise the game. Like, I thought it was fine. The pilot guy, what a forgettable character. Like, I do not give a fuck about this guy at all. Like, he's easily the worst character in the game for me.
I appreciate... Well, let me put it this way. I appreciate having a character in there and all the reviews are talking about like, oh, this is how humans have to deal with Master Chief and things like that. On one hand, I can see where, and I appreciate the honesty of him where he's like, all right, I was drifting through space. I find you. I think I'm saved. And you somehow put me in a worse position.
No, I like what they were going for. I don't think they pulled it off well.
Yeah, the character was not super
We didn't get
great.
enough time with him. We didn't, he didn't have enough. Like the theory behind what his arc is going to be is interesting. I'm not a soldier. I'm just trying to live. And then, seeing Chief doing what he's doing kind of inspires him to be more brave and get on board.
Yeah.
It seemed rushed. Like, we had 3 lines with him, seemingly, and then he's like, oh, I stole this bell again. He's like crying, and he's being a little bitch, and then
but he's like complaining the entire time, and it was getting like grating where like
I don't want to die.
Chief
Can
is
we go
like,
home?
oh, hey, we all
yet?
fail.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Like,
I love that. That's
up.
what I'm saying. That's why Chief was my favorite, because like his lines are like amazing. Like, dude, I would run through a wall for this guy. Like, he's great, and but
he's also very, very stubborn. Where it's just like.
He is, but I would say he's a good leader, though. Like, he knows what to say.
Yes.
At least in this. Maybe that shows a little bit more growth than previous ones.
Yeah, but I guess when I'm looking at and maybe this isn't a fair comparison, but if I'm looking at Marcus Phoenix, if I'm looking at Kratos, and I'm looking at the story arcs and their evolution,
I wouldn't say that Kratos is a better leader than Master Chief.
No. But I'm
Marcus,
saying
of course.
Like with Master Chief, I didn't think he had much, and I could be wrong here, but I didn't feel like he had much growth compared to the other ones. In this new day and age of Gears 5 and God of War and stuff, Halo, it was very back to basics, pretty safe.
I would disagree with you a little bit there because, more is not always better. When you get a Gears 5 or a God of War, and it's fantastic storytelling, don't get me wrong. I love the growth that those guys have. But this is just a different, type of growth, I would say. It's a lot more subtle. But I really, I kind of felt for him there when he's watching all these images again. Cortana blowing up a planet, getting those flashbacks, and he, finally tells Weapon, what happened and things like that. Like, I don't know. For me, and I loved his dynamic with the bad guy of the game, which, we'll talk about as well. I forget his name right now, but
the bad guy?
Yeah, the brute. It's not Atriox, but he's like his disciple or something.
Etrius? Yeah.
Etrius? I don't know. I actually liked him because, the admiration he has for Chief and he wants to... And the guy was a little bit over the top for me, but I kind of liked it. He was very dramatic. I kind of liked it, but it was a little much for me. They could have scaled it back a little bit. Every hologram you get of him is like, this will be the most epic battle that anyone has ever heard. They will tell our story.
The problem is, and I think I texted you whenever we first started playing, I'm like, I just want a guy that's like praising Master Chief. Is like, dude, I cannot wait to fight you and kill you. But man,
just chill
mad
about
respect.
it. Yeah. Like he's like Shakespeare brute.
Towards the
crazy.
end, you start and maybe they meant to do it this way, but like you start realizing, oh, the main bad guy is like on his last leg. Like he's sick or wheezing or whatever. Yeah. And I either just didn't notice it in the beginning or they really upsell it like towards the
they do
half.
They do hint at it. But it's very subtle. Yeah. Just a couple scenes. He has a couple coughs. Yeah.
But I mean,
it goes to show that he might be able to beat Chief in his prime too. Like Chief's getting
Chief
washed out here, bro.
Smacked around and like and maybe that's it where like maybe you never see Chief falter.
Right.
And maybe that's because I'm trying to think even with Kratos, like I guess you don't see him falter per se,
you see
but
him
he
stutter,
questions.
but
right?
yeah,
like
I mean, like the one scene I can think of for Kratos is when he gets the blades back. He's got to get the blades, and he's literally talking to Athena.
Yeah.
That's put him through fucking hell, literally in some cases.
Right.
And she's like, the line that gets me there every time is, "You're a monster," and I know.
Yeah,
I know what I am,
But he doesn't want to go back and get them. He tried to like set
exactly. He tries to avoid his past.
With Chief,
right?
it's like, nope, we're doing this. Oh, okay, just keep going forward.
I don't know. I admire that about him. His commitment to the mission. He's laser focused. The ends justify the means, sort of thing. Like he's not willing. Looking at something like Halo 5, he's willing to disobey orders to do the right thing. And Cortana kind of alludes to this as well. Is like that's what separates you, and that's why I picked you in the Spartan program.
But I guess that's my whole point. Is when you look at Halo, and maybe this is going back to my initial thing of like. They really try to sweep a lot of Halo 5 under the table.
Sure.
For all
they do skip a lot.
Yeah,
that, right?
But like with all the issues from Halo 5 and people saying it was like the weakest story and stuff because you get to play as Master Chief and all that. Like all that being said, I found that more interesting because it's like, no, Master Chief is this like brainwashed super soldier who is literally disobeying orders.
Yeah.
To go do like it's like okay, that's the growth I want. The F everything. I used to be this yes man guy, but this takes priority. And now he's right back to, it was like this kind of like they hit the reset button. Whoa, he's too maverick. And then it's back to like it's just a mission. We get this done. I'm dead inside. Blah, blah, blah.
I think that's the result though of what happened in 5. Like he saw this person that he became so attached to essentially betray him for better, lack of better terms.
I guess my thing is I wish I would have seen that transition a little bit better.
So they could have executed that better. To me, it makes sense, though, that it's like he's going to completely default to what he knows. And he even says that, like, why do you keep doing this? This is all I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty clear about that. Like, this guy was bred for this, and I don't know. To me, it kind of makes sense. Yeah, they could have maybe put in a couple more scenes, that really kind of hit home on that. But, yeah, I don't know. I really like Chief in this. I guess you feel a little bit differently, but I thought he was executed really well.
No, I like him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I liked everything about it. I guess we knew this going in, that the story was not, like, super strong.
Yeah,
it was pretty.
Like, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, it'd be like a 7 out of 10. Like, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, like the
somewhere in that range.
The bad guys were compelling, but like not in a way that I have to see what happens. It was just like
of course
they keep stringing this along.
The reason it helps that I actually really like the length of the campaign because it's not compelling enough for it to be any longer than it was. Like I was happy. It was like, okay, we're. This is
the campaign's weird because it's like you have this open world. Right.
Yeah, it's as long as you want to make it, right?
Yeah. So I actually went back in. It's like we beat it, and then I went back in. I collected all of like the Spartan points. I collected all of like the armor point, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't do all the audio logs because I'm not insane, but I'll collect the skulls. Hopefully, whenever the co-op stuff comes out in May, we can go.
I'm
through
excited
and do
for that.
stuff,
and I will say, just before we get to the technical aspect, just the last thing on story or characters. I was talking about this a little bit earlier with the dynamic between him and the bad guy. Mm-hmm. I really liked that final fight. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And the thing that stuck out for me for that particular instance was, this guy's like dead or whatever, and he's like, tell everyone I fought well, which is, classic warrior kind of guy. I'm always a sucker for that. But Chief's kind of laying there listening to this guy, and the pilot dude's like, why would you do that, dude? This guy's a fucking asshole. Like, he killed so many of us. He's like, at the end of the day, this guy is a soldier, and he's just hoping what he did mattered.
Yeah, he's doing what he was told, or he was just hoping that he made the right call.
He's the parallel of Chief, right? So I really like that. I don't know. I kind of like that. For me, it doesn't have to always be crazy, dramatic, crazy, like Master Chief's crying, he's bawling his eyes out, like through his helmet. Yeah. Like, he's filling his helmet with water. I like the different tone to it that Master Chief presents.
And just to clarify, like, I don't want him to change necessarily who he is.
Right.
But I know we always talk about subverting expectations. I would have just liked something to have been maybe like a switcheroo, or just like something to It seemed very like by the numbers, like okay, if I was going to reboot Halo, so to speak, into kind of this new era, it's like, this is enough for the old people, this is enough for the new people, but you're not really picking a side. It's like, it's almost like you're testing kind of both
playing
things.
It safe. They're playing it safe. I enjoyed it. Like I said, at the end of the day, I thought the story was fine. It was pretty straightforward. You're just trying to stop this guy.
Yeah. Did you see the end of like the legendary ending?
No.
So just because we're going to be spoiling everything. So after you beat the game, the end of the game is you see Atriox, who apparently is not dead.
Oh, fuck.
This is the ending. So, like, at the end where he holds a key out, and basically all these tablets pop up, and apparently that's the Endless that are being released.
Right.
So at the end of Halo Infinite, the guy that destroyed Chief walks up and just unleashes all the Endless.
That's in the original ending?
And that's in the original ending. Now the difference is in the legendary ending, there is literally a like a voiceover line. So you get the same video, but the voiceover line, they're pulling in, I forget the guy's name, but it's an artificial intelligence that was created way back before the Halos were fired the first time. And he was like a great warrior, a great statistician or whatever. Okay. And he was like, all right, well, the Endless, like, we cannot let them control time. And the whole thing is, like, the Endless are so powerful and so scary because apparently they own time.
Yeah, I mean, they allude that to a little bit because they teleport out of there, and I guess it was a couple of days maybe. They're
like 3 days later or something.
Right? So,
them being
that makes sense.
Master Chief and
Cortana. Weapon.
Or Weapon, yeah. Whatever.
No. Interesting.
But like that was like, okay, I'm into it. Like, let's see what you're doing. Let's get. But again, you're falling into the trap of like, can you make a villain that people cling to as much as the Covenant? And I think that's a very tall order, and I don't think it's necessarily fair.
What was brilliant about the Covenant too is it wasn't necessarily just a single person. It was the kind of army themselves, right? Which was, sometimes you get that one villain that is,
they set Atriox up to be good. Like, he literally was just taunting Chief and just kicking his ass all over the place.
No, I like that. Big, strong bad guy always does well.
Yeah.
So, so I think, in terms of story, it was okay. It was pretty good. I would play the next one.
Voice acting was all great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely one of the strong points. Music was fantastic as always. We've come to expect that from Halo. I will say a little bit more, maybe not getting into the technical yet, but I did want to point this out. So you talked about, obviously, the soft reboot kind of thing. It was very interesting because we just recently played Halo 1.
Yeah.
And man, the parallels between Halo 1 and this, I mean, you can really see the inspiration where they're trying to go back to the roots. Because if for any of you listening, if you remember Halo 1, or maybe you played it semi-recently with the Master Chief Collection, pretty much the same kind of thing. You're dropped on this Halo world, and you're going from point to point. Now, it's more linear, but it's one essentially big map. I mean, there's a whole string of missions where you're just on the Halo ring, same biome, and you're going from mission to mission to mission, and that's
going through the Halo like catacomb, like stone,
right?
slate things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're driving the Warhog to the next mission. It's all, no loading sequence, right?
Yep.
It's all, you're just playing the game. And it's very similar to that. Now, of course, they expand on it. It's open world, and you can pick and choose where you go, what point. But I think they drew a lot of inspiration from that, and I really liked that. I was like, wow, this is kind of like Halo 1 fully realized, in the modern era. And I thought that was really cool.
Do you like the open world? And I struggle to say open world because it's like...
Right, quasi...
It's kind of open world, but like you're almost like in a hub, which we talked about last week, where it's like you're in this open world, but like all the real story missions are still in like constructs that you have to go through.
So
is it necessary? Like, do you think it was like... Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think it's necessary. I will say I like their idea of it. I do. I could find myself really enjoying it. Do I think it was executed flawlessly? No. Definitely some things they can work on is just adding more into the world to make it feel more lively. Random events, for example, you could do a lot of funny thing with like grunts and stuff, like random things. And that's what Far Cry does really well. There's always something, a goodie here and there, right? That you can discover and find. I thought, speaking of Far Cry, I made a lot of comparisons because it kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
The bases that you have to take, which is kind of like the main things, because once you take over the base, you can now spawn there, fast travel there, spawn vehicles, weapons, whatever. I wish they would have done more, taken more from Far Cry where, now I haven't played Far Cry since the fourth one, so I'm hoping they're still doing this, but every fortress has a little bit of a different layout, and you have to kind of tactically figure out, and there's multiple ways you can take the base and stuff, and these were all pretty much the same. Like, they're just a landing pad.
Yeah, the base themselves were identical cookie cutter. Like, the
much,
enemies might be slightly different.
Exactly. I wish there was, they were more creative with the layout of that.
Yeah.
So you could sneak in. Maybe there's some secret entrances. Whatever the case may be. So I like their idea. I wish they added a little bit more. I know you were talking about this too as well. Different biomes.
Yep.
It got very stale with just the forest.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. For the open world bits, like you have the forward bases, which you take over, and those are your new spawning points.
Right.
You have bigger areas where the banished are like creating like weapons and stuff, and you go in. It's like a multi-part, like, oh, destroy this factory. Oh, and then also, and I'm sounding sarcastic.
Right.
I enjoyed doing it. It was kind of
very
a chore,
like early 2000s.
Yeah, it's just like
do this, do that,
blow this up.
Like no creativity
here's
at all.
Some
right?
propaganda towers, blow those up.
Yeah.
Save some soldiers. One of the interesting things was the hits. So like they're like targets of interest that you can go and kill. I liked these. And I only started looking at their bios towards the end. I wish I had done that throughout the entire thing, because it's like a list of like, here's why this dude is bad. This is why the UNSC wants him dead. Blah blah blah. And I think it gives kind of some flavor, but you have to do the legwork. I think the cool thing that they did that I really appreciated was they are normal bosses, more or less. So if you wanted to take the quote-unquote stealth approach, where it's like, all right, I'm going to go to this base, I'm going to take out a sniper rifle, I'm going to grapple up to like some ledge and wait for this dude to come out, and I'm just going to
one shot
take him out. Yeah. I think that's super cool, where you can, it lets you do that. Now you still have to go down and like mop everyone else up, but you don't have to run in and just get your ass kicked. That's going to be super helpful in like Legendary, where like, you can go in, snipe a guy, take him out like an assassin almost,
right?
And then clean up everything else at your leisure, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, totally agree. I love those missions. One of my favorite ones, and you get kind of like the upgraded weapon as a reward for each of those. So I thought that was cool. So I guess what I'm saying is I think I like where their head's at. I think it could be really good. I just think they need to refine it. Now, this is their first time doing it. They're taking a risk doing that. I applaud whenever someone's willing to do something different like that and take a risk. And I think, with, some feedback and another crack at it, hopefully, I'm sure they'll do it.
You need to get away from you being like 343 Steves. It's just like, it's, okay, we have to go to this tower. And then you go, and it's like, oh, we were shot down. Chief, go take out these 3 anti-air guns. And you go like repeat it 3 different times. And it's like, okay.
The cookie cutter stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
you blow up this tower. 4 more pop up. Chief, go take out these 4 towers. And it's like they're kind of like shoehorning these like side quests in, but they're very like cookie cutter, copy paste type of thing.
Now, I will say you can get away with that if you make the experience engaging, and we'll kind of segue into the technical portion of what we think here. Now, the gameplay is extremely fun, so they do a great job of that. But like I was saying before, you need to make the scenario, the terrain, or something more engaging, more fun, like a better setup. Maybe there's like a sniper perch you can find or grapple up to and take out a certain tower that way, or maybe they're inside for one of them or something,
or add some sort of stealth.
Some stealth component. I don't know. You have to get creative with that. But even if you're, tower, if you lay it out in a different way, or make a surprise, or the enemies are doing something specific in that,
or they lure you into a trap where you think it's cookie cutter, and now suddenly
2 tanks come out or something. Yeah, exactly. Like cool. That would be cool. So, there's ways you can do that. So, like I said, let's move into the technical aspect. And I'm just going to start with what I just talked about, the grappling hook. I mean, the best addition to this Halo.
Okay, so when you're talking technical, you're talking like gameplay.
Gameplay, yeah. So I probably shouldn't use the word technical. That's just what I think of when I'm thinking of it. So gameplay. Yep. Grappling hook is the best addition to this game. It is so much fun. It is amazing.
It's very, very good. Yeah, you can upgrade it so you get you can grapple an enemy. And do like a charge punch. Which I did a million times. Yeah.
A couple of the cooldown reduced, which is a must on that one.
Yep.
But the grappling hook's fantastic. Now, what were your thoughts on this sort of level up mechanic? Couple different abilities. How did you feel about this?
So I am naturally a go and get all the collectibles type of person. Okay. So and Infinite does a decent job. So Infinite does a great job telling you how many collectibles are in any given area.
Right.
The problem is their map is a little rough to navigate. I don't think it's a good map. And I think that sometimes it doesn't give you like a full here's a list of everything that you could possibly get. It's like you have to hover over a certain area to show like, oh, there are this many points and stuff. All that being said, I didn't have an issue with the upgrade path because I was collecting everything where I just upgrade everything almost immediately.
Right. Okay.
So that wasn't too bad. Sure. At least the grappling hook. Anyone playing the game, just upgrade the grappling hook. That's all you have. You don't have to upgrade literally anything else.
Yeah.
You have to. Meaning, sure, it helps if you do, I guess. I found out that the charge, the dodge or whatever, literally makes you invisible once it's fully upgraded.
So, I was going to say, it's going to be interesting when we do our playthrough on Legendary because we're going to have to get away from the grappling hook a little bit more because we'll have to see what's optimal.
Or you're going to be on grappling hook. I'm going to drop down a shield. I think that's going to be you're going to be forced to. We both played on normal the first time around.
Yes.
And I was in grappling hook mode 99.9% of the time. And that's all you needed. It was too much fun.
I used the other one once when I was fighting the elite at the end of the game who goes invisible.
The mobility you get from it, 9 times out of 10, I would just grapple places versus getting in before I unlock the air. I would much rather just grapple around. If my target was within 400 meters, I was grappling there. I wasn't driving.
Yeah, right.
Because you could just scale a freaking mountain with a grappling hook.
Very easy.
It's
I love
so much more fun.
Yep.
And you have that. You have the combat stuff where it's not only are you electrocuting enemies by grappling into them and then punching them super hard, which then sends out a shockwave, which is super overpowered and stuns everyone around them.
Right.
But you're if a brute throws a power cell at you or something, you literally grapple it out of midair. And throw it back at them. Apparently, brutes throw grunts at you.
I have not experienced that.
There's an achievement for it where a brute picks up a grunt and chucks it at you.
That's fucking awesome.
And you can kill him in midair, or you grapple up to the grunt and punch him. There's so many fun, cool things you can do. You can grapple Halo, weapons right? out of things. So if you're shooting something and you're out of ammo, you just grapple up a pistol from the ground and keep going. It makes you feel so freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say, so the grappling weapons was my favorite aspect of that.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 have a pistol just mowing through enemies, out of ammo, just grapple whatever is nearest to me, just not completely fluid, doesn't even stop. And what you're talking about with the grunt thing, that's classic Halo, right? Those wacky kind of things that happen. I remember in the first mission when you're on the ship, a bad guy or a grunt or not a grunt, a brute or whatever throws a power cell at me. I was like, holy shit! Like it just throws. It was like I was like covering because I was out of health, and then I just see this power cell just fly over the ridge, and I'm like, it just put a smile on my face. Like that's the Halo experience. Like I love that. Halo's always had fantastic AI. We were playing the first one, and we were like, wow, this is incredible for a game that came out in 2001, right?
Definitely.
So I think that continues here where they still have those fun interactions. I think they can even dial that up more. Those kind of unique kind of situations.
I think that's what the skulls are for. Like there's literally an achievement where you play it on Legendary with every skull turned on.
Yeah.
And you beat it that way.
Yeah, you have to be crazy to do that.
I would love to play through just the intro just to see what that is.
Awful it is. I mean, nothing is going to be worse than Halo 2, man. Like, that is rough.
I did. So I only unlocked it. I want to say I have maybe between 4 and 6 skulls unlocked that I just kind of like, I was scouring everything.
I'm hoping that only one person needs to have them unlocked.
Technically, yes. And the cool thing is, because I did start over.
Because I have 0 of them found, and I don't plan on finding them.
I think first 2 skulls, maybe 1 or 2 skulls, you can't get after the intro.
Oh,
just because of the story and how it unfolds and everything.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll go back and just snag those because that's the only thing I didn't get. I got all the other collectibles.
Right.
Going into a new game, it said, oh, hey, you already have these audio files. You're just missing that skull, which is actually super cool because it's almost like a new game plus without any of the upgrades, but like all the collectibles you already have.
Oh, that's
which
fantastic.
I like a lot.
Yeah, I like that. So continuing to talk about the gameplay, let's talk about the gunplay, obviously a core part of Halo. I'm absolutely in love with how this game plays, and I guess this ties, I mean, it obviously does tie into the campaign, but more into the online component of it, I would say, because that's where you're going to get the majority of your gunfights and things like that after you're done with the campaign, right?
Yeah.
Man, does this game feel just fantastic. What a great blend of classic Halo elements that we've come to love in a modern era, making it faster. Obviously, there's a sprint. You talked about the grappling hook and some of these other power-ups that you can find on the map. And I actually think that they do that in a much better way, at least in the multiplayer sense, where in Halo Reach, you had your Spartan abilities or armor abilities, whatever, which I actually thought were really cool. But instead of that, in this one, everyone gets a sprint because if you remember in Reach, sprint was a armor ability, right?
And I don't think you could stop it.
It was a toggle on-off situation.
It was
very
weird.
Finicky. So this one obviously feels much better, much smoother. And I like the fact that you pick up the abilities on the map. So it doesn't, you're not always feeling like you're getting cheesed by a guy who's constantly running invis, for example. Because invisibility or active camo was an ability you could take whenever you wanted. So,
and now you actually have to activate it. So if somebody runs and grabs it real quick and you can kill him before he uses it, you can actually pick it off his
Or you can
his
save
body.
it for that perfect moment where you're going to sneak into the base and steal the flag, whatever the case may be. So a lot of really quality of life changes there.
It is, and we talked about this, it is tough to go from the campaign with such a souped up grappling hook into a multiplayer where I'm like, oh, if I just had the grappling hook there, I'm like, I would have absolutely crushed you, dude.
No, absolutely. So you get scaled back way much in terms of your mobility. But I will say, dude, playing Halo 1 and then this, it's like, holy shit, even minus the grappling
You're just like trudging through mud in Halo 1.
So it's fantastic. I love the gunplay. The guns feel great. Sound
Needler
is
awesome. The pistol is awesome.
Love the pistol.
I don't think the battle rifle is as good as I would like it to be.
It's not as good as previous iterations, but I will say I think the assault rifle might be its best version ever.
Yes. Yeah.
It feels fantastic. I'm not sad to have an assault rifle.
Yeah, it's accurate enough at any range that I feel like I could.
You always have a chance.
Yeah. The thing with the assault rifle, and I'm sure this is a gameplay tweak and like a balancing thing, you only have enough ammo for like one guy. Like you have to put the entire clip into him, and you can kill a guy with one clip.
Yeah.
But you better hit every shot. And if you don't, then you have to get close enough to punch him. And that's classic Halo. That's what 3 was.
Yep.
But I just thought that was an interesting you can do that at a range now.
Right.
Where I would much rather have the assault rifle just about more than any other gun, more or less. Aside from maybe like the pistol. The pistol is brutal. Yeah,
pistol's great. Yeah. I found that I do like the BR better than the assault rifle still, but I agree with you that, nothing's ever going to be the Halo 2.
I like the
battle
BR
rifle.
if everyone has BRs. So if
Sure,
you're playing
sure.
ranked and everyone has a battle rifle, then yeah, sure, I enjoy that gunplay more.
Yeah, sure.
Because I can be a little bit more deliberate with shots.
Right.
But if you have a BR and I'm coming at you with an assault rifle, usually you're going down.
Depends distance, but
fair enough.
I think it's
close range,
enough.
It's
yeah,
rough.
you're at a disadvantage, but I like that. The assault rifle has its place now, and that's what it's always supposed to be, right?
It's an auto DMR. It's the commando now.
I love the
cool.
commando. It might be my favorite gun in the game. Actually, it's kind of crazy. I love the fire rate's quick.
On the campaign.
But anyways, I guess what I'm getting at is the guns feel great. At least the human ones. There are some of the alien ones. I probably just need more time on them, but they feel a little wonky at times, like the grenade launcher ones. I haven't really figured that one out yet because it bounces so much. So usually, a grenade launcher you want to just hit at someone's feet, but you got to either hit them or you got to hit a wall or something.
Yeah.
You got to be in a close corridor because if you go to their feet, it'll just bounce right past them.
I'm not sure what they were trying to do with the alien weapons.
Yeah,
and I guess maybe because it's like they're banished, so it's more on like the brute side than the Covenant side.
Right.
But like, none of them felt like it was like they were kind of going with some of the stuff that was already there. But it's like you had some pretty decent weapons, just two of those.
So the carbine, the Covenant carbine is horrible now. They made it a 3-round burst. It just feels terrible to me.
It homes in the campaign, which I never noticed if it homed. I never pick it up in multiplayer, so I don't know. But in the campaign, you fire it and it kind of guides to them, which is, I guess, something.
The velocity of the projectiles themselves, like
you have to be
the
close.
plasma,
are
so slow. Like I feel like you just dodge them, man.
The shotgun is terrible. I will say the shotgun's
terrible.
Very, very bad.
It's easily the worst shotgun we've ever seen. I love, and this is a brute weapon, the skewer. What a fucking awesome weapon. Just an amazing sound. When you hit someone, just you feel the carnage when that giant nail just goes through their face.
Just one shot.
It's like a quasi sniper kind of heavy weapon kind of deal. I really like that one. So that one,
people that are good with it are very frustrating to play against.
Yeah, you just get
one shot.
Get a nail through the dome, dude. It's crazy. But so the multiplayer is extremely fun. The gunplay is awesome. I talked about the sound effects. It's very much like a Call of Duty-esque not a hit marker, but like a kill sound effect. Like it's so satisfying, like very crisp.
I think it is better than Call of Duty.
I think so too. I think it's crisp and clean and just a nice sound effect. It's very pleasing.
Absolutely.
And that's a great. You definitely need something like that in a shooter. You need to feel rewarded for getting that kill, and that's a great.
Honestly, the one thing I don't like about this game, and this is crazy.
Sure.
Grunt birthday party. The skull you
unlock.
No. Okay, I
know. About to ruin my life.
I am.
That's the best skull. That's always been the best skull.
It is the best skull. Go ahead and tell the audience what the skull does.
Grunt birthday party?
Yeah.
You get a headshot on a grunt, and there's a confetti and a big hooray.
Here's the problem. It's any headshot on a grunt, whether you kill that grunt or not.
Oh, wow.
So there are times when I shoot him. I shoot the grunt, and I was playing on Legendary.
Yeah.
And confetti popped, and I just kept moving. Grunt's still up.
No.
So I don't know. And it's weird because Grunt should drop it with one headshot.
Depending
so I don't know
weapon,
what was happening there. Yeah. But it was just confetti just kept going off, but the grunts were still alive.
Man, maybe that's a bug? I don't know.
But that alone is enough for me to be like, maybe we don't turn that one on.
Oh, man. But we're going to play through all the other ones with it on.
I know.
think we
so
have to.
There's that one, and there's the I Would Have Been Your Daddy. Skull, are you aware of that one? All the rare dialogue is more common. So when you pop that on, it's very fun.
I love the grunt. They really nailed the grunt dialogue in this one.
So there are two camps, and there's the camp of like grunts are supposed to be talking in human voices, high pitched, squeaky, making jokes, and are just completely dumb.
Yep.
And the other one, I forget which Halo it did it. Was it 2 or 3 or something where they made them, like you couldn't understand the grunts?
I think it was 3 because we were just playing 2 and I thought they were speaking in English.
It's possible. I would have to go back and check. But they were not speaking English.
Maybe they were speaking English.
But this
I thought
one,
they always were. I don't remember when they weren't.
I'm 99% sure there was one where it was just like they were just speaking some
My guess is
gibberish.
3, but if I'm wrong, I apologize.
But these are very again, it's going back to their roots, like you said. It's old school grunts.
I would be in the camp of silly grunts.
Oh yeah, I mean, why not?
Best.
Yeah, it's such a juxtapose to Master Chief's like
love it.
straight edge.
You have to have that. There's a lot of funny dialogue in there though, but
I mean, the sound in general is just awesome.
Sounds great. Yeah. So gunplay, great. I really highly rate that. I guess the last thing I just want to touch on before we move on.
Yeah.
This would be more of the technical aspect, how the game ran. So I guess I'll just start with my experience on this. So I have a pretty nice rig, right? So 3080, I have the i900K or whatever Intel processor. So it's pretty up there, right? So I started the game and I was running on max settings and getting great frames, 140 plus, butter smooth. It was pretty consistent, and everything was awesome. I was like, man, this game looks fantastic. Then we get to the open world, and my frames just fucking plummeted, man. Like, it could not sustain. Like, it wasn't terrible. Like, I was at like 90. Like 70 to 90. The problem was it was fluctuating too much, so it just was very choppy.
Yeah.
So at first I capped the frame rate at like an 80, which did help. But you showed me that Digital Foundry video, and actually, so anyone who has it or are not aware of them, they look at like performance specs, things like that. They do a whole host of things, but they have like optimized settings. They do videos on that, which is really cool. So you should check that out. So I checked that out. I did their optimized settings, and obviously, I mean, my frames were great, and it still looked pretty good. So the drop off in the quality wasn't, that bad.
Yeah, it's usually like that one setting that you just got to tweak, and then suddenly it's
right. Yeah, for sure. So what was your experience with the, quality of how
performance
it ran?
Wasn't too bad. I think. I mean, I've been doing the PC like tweaking for a while. Like I always do that.
Right.
So my natural go-tos are like, all right, textures all the way up. I have the VRAM to do it. I like keep it coming. But then things like reflections and shadow quality and like bird quality. Like they had like, flocks of birds. How detailed do you want this?
Yeah.
It's like turn all that down.
Yeah.
And once I did that, it was pretty stable. I was getting around 90 frames, which is interesting because we had somewhat close to the same amount of frames. Now, granted, I was running most of my stuff on high, where I assume you were on ultra. So it's like,
so you were getting 90 frames on high.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, so I was
with
a
couple settings tweaked down, but
so I was getting about 90 frames on ultra everything.
Yeah, which checks out because I'm a 2080 Ti, so I'm like card below you, but
so that's kind of how that. But I thought it was a very pretty looking game. There was a couple minor things that I did notice that kind of were a little jarring at some points, but overall, like
depending on your
good.
like depending on your settings though, and like this gets back to a more philosophical thing, which I know we've talked about. Where I prefer give me a CGI. Full fat rendered awesome lighting, because I still think Halo 2 looks better than any cutscene in this game.
Halo 2 is, I will say there's one difference because I went back and watched the Halo 2 cutscene to compare like the two. I will say in Halo 2 Master Chief's helmet does not look as good as in Infinite. Like his visor looks a lot better in Infinite. But the humans look amazing in Halo 2. I mean, that might be some of the best humans we've ever seen.
Cortana looks night and day better in 2 than
also, I don't like, this is kind of weird, and maybe I should have mentioned this before, they turned her purple for some reason.
So I think...
Is that because she's
the rampant? I think so, or it's to try to kind of...
And she looks very... Like, they changed her haircut, and she looks very different.
So if you look at...
To me, I guess.
If you're trying to compare and contrast between her and Weapon and stuff... So, like, in the first game, she was purple, right? So, like, I think it's like a callback to that. And then she kind of got a little bit more blue and a little bit more hologram.
I always remember her as blue. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
So,
if you look at between the two, maybe they're just really trying to go back.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's also an easy way to distinguish between her and Weapon, who is very much blue.
Yeah.
And her hair is... So 5, she had like a completely different cut because they were really trying to do something with them in 5. Same with Master Chief. His armor was completely different. It looked
I don't
like
understand that. It's like, she's an AI, dude. She doesn't give a fuck about her hair.
Yeah, but it was also, if you look at what they did in 4, 4 was like overly sexualized, where like all the lines on her thing looked like she had like this skimpy like bikini on, and she was like her chest was completely a different proportionate.
Okay.
Like they did a lot.
She's always been not that severe, but She's always been,
Yeah.
Cortana has always been kind of in that ballpark, I guess.
Right, but 4 was like,
Yeah, it was like
overly
way too
sexualized.
much, yeah.
And I'm sure somebody out there is
Hey guys, remember Cortana? This is what you remember, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but if you look at 4 and you look at kind of what they did with her there, and then 5, new haircut, she was in an actual like outfit, like she was actually wearing like clothes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's weird because when you look at that, and then you see her in all these clothes during the cutscenes, but when you look at her in the last scene before she like quote unquote like truly dies in Infinite, where like the last like bits of recording evaporate.
Yeah.
She is wearing her original. Well, she's not wearing anything.
Yeah,
but like
right.
it's her
That's
original
yeah.
look.
Yeah.
It's just like little subtle things. I'm sure some artist and some game designer spent hours and hours and hours talking about that.
Yeah.
That who knows who actually notices
No,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, but that's, I don't know. That's pretty much my thoughts on it. Thought it's, a solid game. I think the campaign's like a 7 out of 10. I think the online experience is like solid 8 in the mid 8s.
Here's the thing.
I have a lot of fun with the online. I mean, we were just playing the other day.
Yeah.
And those classic Halo memories that you remember, they're fully here. Like we were just playing a capture the flag match.
Yep.
It was a stalemate. Me and Tyler just make a big.
I would say they're fully there minus Forge and minus like
yes,
little
I'm talking
fun things like
strictly
Griffball
multiplayer.
And, yeah.
Okay, that's actually a good point. So, me and Tyler made a play in a Warhog, got the flag back. It was awesome. We were like just super happy about it. But yes, you're missing Forge. You're missing those game modes like Griffball. We were talking about fully grappling hook game mode with like rocket launchers or something crazy, right?
Yep.
So,
because like with a grappling hook, if you grapple an enemy vehicle, you literally auto hijack it.
Yep.
So like imagine that. Like it would be.
Love that.
So I think overall, if you have $10, there's zero reason why you shouldn't be playing this game on PC or even on Game Pass, like on the Xbox and pay $15, whatever. The multiplayer is free, so they did split it out where the multiplayer is free to play, which is cool.
Yep.
If you don't want to play the campaign for whatever reason, I think it's worth it for sure. Especially if you've never done Game Pass before, you can get it for $1. We swear they're not paying us. And, but even if you take that $10 and put it towards the battle pass on the multiplayer, and just you get that constant like unlock progression, which is also good. They've retooled the progression on that because it was very, very bad in the beginning.
Yes.
But I think in the past 2 weeks, they've made it where like as long as you play 6 games, you will go up a level.
Right.
Any given day, which is kind of cool because it's always 1,000 points every level.
It's very encouraging to me seeing that 343 is taking feedback from the populace and making those adjustments. That's always very a good sign, for the players.
And look at the landscape. I mean, you look at Battlefield, which is a huge mess now. Like I actually uninstalled Battlefield because of how annoyed I was.
Yeah,
I just wanted
they
hard
definitely
drive
won
back.
out in terms of the big hitters that were coming out this
Call
time.
of Duty
right?
is forgettable. It's fine, but forgettable.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Modern Warfare.
Nope.
Like the remake. And then you have Halo, which is free. And I mean, Splitgate who at this point.
Yeah. Which is sad because, man,
I mean,
that
the king
was a
is
cool
back.
thing.
Look, like it was a cool thing, but if you come and you say, hey, we're Halo with portals, and portals are the only new thing, the moment the sleeping giant wakes up and like, oh, wait, you said Halo? Yeah, we're Halo. And then just knock it out of the park like they did.
I will say the door was open. Halo had to make the landing. And they did.
It was touch and go. Like, I mean, even now, it's not would I say it's a complete game? Like, would I pay $60 for that campaign?
No,
I don't think so.
Never. No way, man. You're missing Forge.
You're missing co-op.
You're missing co-op, and you're missing a complete playlist, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Definitely not a completed game.
If that $60 unlocked all the cosmetics, and you could just kind of do whatever you wanted to do and whatnot, then you bring me into the conversation.
Start debating about that.
I think they made the smart play, but it's not when I say finished, it's not a finished Halo package like we've always seen. So for new people, no one probably cares. And for veterans, it's like, well, you know which side of the fence you fall on.
I'm kind of torn on this because, obviously we've seen a lot of incomplete games. You just mentioned Battlefield, in recent times, and gamers have been burned by this kind of bridge. Cyberpunk comes to the forefront and that sort of discussion. And I think the way that they handled the rollout of this was smart. Free multiplayer. It's on Game Pass, so technically it should only have to be $10. I mean, you can pay $10 once, easily beat this campaign.
Yeah, I mean, we beat it in about 12 hours.
Yeah. It took me 2 days. Two play sessions. That's it. So, and if you want to go hard on the campaign, you can easily do that in a month.
I should say 12 hours. That's with getting all of the... So they do give you like the unlocks for multiplayer. So I think like 30 crates in the game, like in the campaign.
Yeah.
That if you get it, you unlock a customizable piece in multiplayer.
Right.
So that's with getting all of those.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can easily do that in a month.
Yeah.
Like, no problem.
And you get a bunch of other great stuff.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, definitely worth a look on Game Pass if you want to check out that campaign, and there's no reason you shouldn't check out the multiplayer. It's completely free. Everything you pay for is cosmetic based. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Great stuff. Really looking forward to Forge and Co-op coming later next year.
Yeah, May.
It's not later next year, but like later,
mid next year. Yeah.
Mid next year, yeah.
It'll be fun. It'll be good.
Excellent. So that's our review on Halo. That was kind of, it's been a while since we did a full-fledged review.
That was pretty,
we usually don't do one
from.
We usually don't do one from this century.
So people that completely skipped all of that, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back
to our top 5. I know we have about 25 minutes to get through this. I think we can do it.
Absolutely. So the top 5 this week. I was talking in the very beginning of the recording here. We alluded to this in one of our earlier episodes, and today we are going to be listing off the top 5 soups. So we talked about this before, back episode something, and I kind of just randomly said this because I was talking to my friend about it. I was like, Tyler, what are the top 5 soups? And it kind of really sparked the whole top 5 list, which is kind of crazy to think about. But we talked about a couple on that episode, but we never actually did a concrete list. And we're kind of coming to the end of our first season. I think it's fitting that where it all began.
Full circle.
We should actually do a concrete list on the top 5 soups.
Yeah.
So, do you want to kick it off? I do have a list. I have 8 soups I would like to talk about.
I mean, kicking it off, meaning, what do you consider a soup?
Okay, so
I don't want to spend a ton of time on
I'll kick it back to you because I guess I don't have a.
So when you think so you have soups.
I would say that everything on my list, I believe, would be considered a soup. But go ahead.
So you have soups, chowders, bisques, stews, chilies.
Yeah. Now you're starting. The last couple we're starting to get away.
Well, that's what I mean.
I will say on my list that I'm talking about, they're all considered soups. I do have a chowder on there.
Yeah.
Do you consider that a soup?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, aside from, I would say maybe not a stew.
Yeah. I like in a very technical sense.
Stews have very little liquid in them.
Yeah, they're probably considered a soup, but for the purposes of what society usually deems a soup,
yes,
I think we would probably shy away from that. Would you consider? I would say the same for chili probably as well. Then,
see,
do you feel the same?
I do not feel the same about chili.
Okay.
I think chili is a soup.
The reason I say that,
hearty soup, but
the reason I say that is because my dad's chili, which is obviously the most common chili that I am consuming, is very little broth at all. So it's very
maybe we have to put a stipulation of
no. I mean, if you want to include chili, I'm down. But that's why I usually wouldn't.
I would like to include chili because
my experience with it has been a little different.
You said you had 8 on your list. I have maybe like 3 that I would really fight for.
Okay,
and chili is one of them.
Okay, hey, yeah, let's do it. Let's do chili. I love a good chili. So.
Now, I guess the only other question is, like all our food lists, we are saying this is just the best.
Best version of it.
Best version. So we don't have to say like, oh, Wendy's chili.
Yeah, right. Although I've heard choice.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Kick it off. Why don't you?
Chili.
Actually, do you want me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to start with chili?
Yeah, why not?
Let's start with chili. I love chili. Fantastic.
Chili
now,
is amazing.
Are you a spicy chili guy? My father's chili is pretty spicy.
I'm okay with the spicy chili. I kind of like the idea of having chili, like a base chili that's not necessarily spicy.
Okay.
And then you get the chili sauce and you add the sauce to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm down for that. Like I said, homemade's the most common one I've had. So I think it's great. You know, you have the beans, you have, and this is kind of interesting. So people are kind of taken aback when I say that I like chili because anyone who knows me knows that I can't eat peppers. But for whatever reason, when they're baked into this chili, I'm totally fine with them. So I can do it in that sort of sense.
So are you? Do you like the cornbread on your chili?
Oh, interesting. I usually do, if I do anything on top of my chili, it's like cheese.
Just cheese, like no like crackers or anything. Like, are you a crackers guy on soup in general? Or
absolutely, yeah. But I usually keep them separate. I don't usually put anything in.
I gotcha. Yeah. See,
so I'll have a nice piece of bread with my chili. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm with you there. I don't think that necessarily will probably play a role in anything. But
yeah,
I personally don't like cornbread and chili.
We should probably talk about that. Sorry to interrupt. Combinations. Now, I guess we're just doing soup itself, right?
Unless so that's a very good question.
Because one of my lists is very dependent on exactly. It's an alley-oop situation. What do you think?
Unless it's integral to the way the soup is prepared.
Okay.
Because I think I know where you're going with that.
So that's gonna put mine off probably.
No. I think
talk about it.
I think if it's integral to the soup and you have to have it a certain way.
We might be thinking of two different things.
We might be thinking about two different things. All right.
So chili
I think should be on the list.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
What else can you say about it? Ground meat. Beans.
And I don't like ground meat. That's the thing is like if I'm going to eat ground meat, that's really the only instance I actually like actively enjoy.
So me with peppers, you with ground meat.
Yeah.
I mean, chili must be doing something right. You know
what
I mean? It's bringing these people together. Yeah. All right. Let's. I put it as I wouldn't put it maybe firmly on.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's fine.
You know what?
That's fine. Go ahead.
Let's put it as a maybe. Let's put it as a strong maybe because I just have a lot. I just have a lot to get through. So I have 8.
So every one that I do, maybe you put up like 2.
Okay, I'll do 2. So my first one is French onion.
Okay.
It's the first one that came to mind.
Love it.
I fucking love French onion soup. I think it's fantastic. I'm actually a big fan of Panera's French onion, but I definitely need it. I know you were talking about the upscale Morgan's. Thank you.
Morton's.
Excuse me.
Like
Morton's.
Morton Bowser.
Yeah. So Morton's French onion.
French onion was what I was talking about, where I think the cheese on top and the croutons in there are integral.
Exactly. I would consider that the same. I mean, you have to have it.
I think French onion needs to be on this list.
Yes, I easily put it on there. I think it's fantastic. So I don't think there's any discussion of that. Second one I want to talk about here is pumpkin. Pumpkin is fantastic. And here let me just so every mom has that one thing that they make that's special.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
My mom's meatloaf, for instance.
Exactly.
Sure.
Mrs. DeFazia's meatloaf, you know? Yep. Hard Bible study, you come home, you got a nice meatloaf ready for you. My mom, I was thinking about what is her specialty? And you know what? As I've grown, because I used to not like this soup, but as I've grown up and matured, this pumpkin soup is fantastic. It has a kick to it. It's tasty. You need a nice bread with it because it's really just the broth, and it's a little bit more watery than maybe a traditional pumpkin. I'm salivating just thinking about it. It is a fucking amazing. So put on the maybe. I know you kind of cringed when I said pumpkin.
I'm not against. So for instance, the way you're talking it up, I would love to try your mom's pumpkin.
I would love you to try my mom's pumpkin because it is one of the best things that she makes easily. Like it's not like I don't feel like it's a classic pumpkin. I haven't had a lot of pumpkin soup, but hers has a really awesome kick to it. It's really flavorful. I love it.
I'm not a big pumpkin
guy. Me neither.
So the idea of that and then in the soup form.
Oh, it's so good.
My brain doesn't know what to do with that.
I completely understand it. It does not sound appealing. I'm not a huge pumpkin guy either. I love pumpkin pie. But you think about soup form pumpkin. I was the same way. That's why I didn't like it as a kid. When I matured, when I grew a pair and I actually started eating it, I was like, this is fantastic. So just to be considered, I want to shout out to my mom there. She makes an awesome soup.
You're a good son.
Thank you.
Hit me again with another one.
Oh, another one? All right. We're going to kind of change the scenery here a little bit, and we're going to go with wonton soup. I love wonton. Oh, man.
No. I am with you. I love wonton soup.
Yeah.
I think that might actually, maybe we talk about that being on the list.
Oh, okay. So that was a good
yes,
face.
The only reason why, well, it wasn't a good face, but the only reason I made that face and kind of sucked in the air was the last, I would say, 4 or 5 times I've tried wonton soup. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you do need to get a good one.
3 different places.
You do need to get a good one because the place next to my house, Chinese place, not a great wonton. But my favorite Chinese place, Sushi Tomo. I guess that's not Chinese. I guess that's Japanese. I don't know. They have both.
Okay.
Shout out Sushi Tomo, Midnight Road. Amazing wonton soup, dude. Amazing wonton soup. And I guess just to counter your argument here, our rules are the best version.
No, which is why I said, okay, I've had good wonton soup before, and I'm just like, yeah.
But I absolutely agree. Like, that's a big gap, right?
Like the
between a good and a bad.
Because it's what is that, like pork in there, right? Like
yes,
pork in there?
I believe so, yeah.
Like
I think you can have it chicken, maybe. I think it could be.
They can be like too, almost like too like soft, like the wontons, and it almost like starts to like disintegrate.
Oh, I see.
I don't know. I've had
a good wonton, dude.
Bad luck in recent wonton tryings, but
have you ever been to Sushi Tomo?
No, you guys keep talking about it. Absolutely,
yeah. We'll go. We'll definitely go. That's
Just bring a quarter of your mom's pumpkin and just put it right back to the wonton.
Kick me out for that. All right, you're up.
Okay, so are you a seafood guy or no?
Yes, sir. I love where this is going.
Are we talking some like lobster bisque?
Oh yeah, lobster bisque.
Okay,
yep,
all right, cool.
I'm totally down for that. Now let me counter you here for a second. How do you feel about clam chowder?
That's a tough one.
So I kind of.
And now, do we have to go down that path of New England versus Boston?
Yeah, I think that's what the battle is going to be. I think one of those needs to be on the. What do you mean?
What's the difference between New England and Boston clam chowder?
If my memory serves me correctly, so the New England
is the creamy one?
Clam chowder is the creamy one.
I like the creamy one.
Or is it the thick one?
We can look it up after the fact, but
yeah.
I
man, now you put me on the spot. I'm like getting fucked up. Technically, I just said clam chowder. I guess there's different varieties.
That's the one that I know people talk.
But you like the creamy one, right?
I like the creamy one.
I also do. So whatever one that is.
So do you like that over a lobster bisque?
That's tough. A good lobster bisque is incredible.
Yeah.
I might lean towards the lobster.
I think I do too. Yeah. We can put both on, and like if we have to kill, my
brain works weird like this. To me, it's like, John, only one seafood could be on the list.
And I don't think that's necessarily.
It's not true at all.
But I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So, but it's close. I mean, a good clam chowder, man, is fantastic.
Okay. We'll put that on there.
Okay. So, am I up here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll go here.
I have a feeling you're going to take one of mine, but
this is one I want to talk about before. Tomato.
Yeah.
Tomato's great, but this is that combo piece. I mean, a tomato and a grilled cheese. That is the ultimate duo, and I don't know if a tomato can really make it on this list unless you have that grilled cheese. I love tomato. Like, I would eat a tomato soup by itself. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But that grilled cheese really puts it into S tier for me.
I don't think I've ever had tomato soup by itself.
I'm trying to think. That's a great point. Yeah, like they're just so inseparable that maybe we don't put that on.
That's the one you were talking about before.
That's the one I was talking about before. So were you a different one?
I was talking about the French onion.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
That's tough. It might sneak on as like an onion thing, like you said.
Let's put it as a tentative maybe.
Yeah.
But it hurts it for sure not having that grilled cheese. Still a great soup. Like, I would eat a tomato.
Well, let me ask you this. So you say tomato soup. Are you talking about tomato bisque or are you talking about the soup? Because now I'm just realizing I'm actually talking about tomato bisque, not tomato soup.
That's the thicker one, right?
A little bit thicker. It's like puree.
I'm talking about the bisque.
Okay, so tomato bisque.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, I guess I should be a little bit more clear on that.
Yeah.
Although tomato soup's not bad either.
It's fine, but it's more on the line of like, hey, you like your SpaghettiOs having tomato soup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about, remember, we're talking about the best version.
Which is bisque.
Bisque,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Wedding.
Yep, I have wedding on here. Pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
Now, are you a meatball guy or?
So I'm very particular in my wedding soup.
Okay.
I like meatballs.
Yep.
I'm good with light spinach, not like a ton of it, but I'm good with that in there. I do not want chicken. I do not want carrots. I do not want rice. I want the little, I forget what the pasta balls are.
Is that a gnocchi?
I don't think it's gnocchi because
gnocchi's
gnocchi's filled with stuff too. But whatever the little pasta balls are.
I am totally
essentially Olive Garden wedding soup.
I am 100% with you. That's how my mom makes it.
Yeah.
That's how Olive Garden makes it.
I don't like chicken in soup. And that might kind of throw some wrenches in your thing. Like it's bizarre that chicken can be dry in a liquid. Like I never understood that. It's like I'm getting Campbell, like any type of chicken soup I've ever had. Yeah. It's never good chicken in there. It's always somehow dry.
Well, that's the point of it, right? Like, the chicken that you can't really utilize anymore.
Yeah, like it's
the soup,
so bad.
Right? So,
anyway, all right.
I don't mind chicken and soup. So I guess I wouldn't mind. I guess traditionally, I don't have chicken in my wedding soup. I don't think. I'm trying to remember. I haven't had wedding soup in a long time, but I think I'm in the same ballpark.
If you have the meatballs,
yeah, exactly right. That's the meat.
Now Chelsea, she makes something called divorce soup.
Okay.
And what she does is she takes the gnocchi.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know if that's the right thing. But it's like almost like tortellinis. Yeah. But like filled with like cheese in them.
Oh, okay.
And that's the pasta in there. And she does sausage that's not meatball form. It's just ground sausage in there. It's very good.
That does sound very good. So we'll trade soups. Chelsea will make a batch.
Oh, she
My
makes
mom
them all
will
the
make
time.
a
Yeah.
Pumpkin.
It's funny because Chelsea, when she first made it, I was like, it's kind of bland. Like it was. It was. Like she's a very good cook, but like that soup just wasn't great.
Sure.
So then she just made it over. And over.
Yeah.
So I
cue the
joke,
trading montage.
Well, I joke and I say like anyone that tastes it, and it's like, oh, it's very good. I'm like, you could thank me for that. Because if I told Chelsea like, oh, hey, this is delicious, it's very good. Like her chicken parm is out of this world.
Yeah.
She's made it like 3 times for me in the 10 years we've been together.
Wow.
But this soup that I was like, it's not that great. Let's make that 25 times,
Boom.
But,
Exactly.
Anyway.
There you go, man.
It's
I like
good.
that. Okay, so let's just get this out of the way. So chicken noodle, you're no-go on this.
Well, hey, look, if it's the best ever, my brain has never had a good chicken in a soup where I can't comprehend it.
Yeah. It's the classic. It's the Batman and Robin. It's the Halo theme. It's,
I think there are 5 soups on this list.
I am totally cool with snubbing it, actually. Like, it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I do like chicken noodle soup. It's classic. You're sick. You have a nice bowl of chicken noodle soup.
Let me counter the chicken soup. What do you think about steak and potato?
Good. I guess I haven't had it enough to. I've definitely had it, but it's been a long time.
When I think like, I'm sick, like I want soup, like my sick soup. I think steak and potato over chicken noodle.
Yeah, I do chicken noodle. That's just the classic.
Sure.
We had to mention it. We don't have to put it on anything, but
you're not going to fight for it?
No.
All right.
Okay, this is the last one. This is what I was looking up before we started the podcast. And now that we're like an hour and a half into it, I'm going to fuck up the pronunciation. But it's cioppino soup. I hope any Italians up there, I apologize.
You got to stress it. Cioppino.
Yeah. So it's an Italian soup, and it's kind of seafood esque. Let me just kind of see if there's a definition on this.
Give me some ingredients.
So this is my mom's friend makes this. So I guess I should say some of the background of this. My mom's friend, so every year has like a Christmas party or something, and one of the things we look forward to regularly is what's going to be on the menu. She always goes all out.
Yeah.
And so she always has a soup, and this cioppino soup is one of the ones that she's had one of the times.
So what's in this?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it now. I hesitate a little bit because it says it's a fish stew. So technically, I don't know. It might be on the line here.
Is there more liquid than not? Is liquid
I remember
the primary?
Yeah, so here's a picture of it.
Okay.
And you can kind of grade for yourself. Do you want to maybe read out some of the ingredients in there to...
Yeah. Here I can. So we have crab, clams, shrimp, scallops, squid, mussels, fish. Oh, so it's like all the fish are in there.
Yeah, it's like a fish soup, but it's just fantastic.
and then it's just tomatoes and wine.
Yeah. So
it's tomato soup with seafood. It's seafood tomato soup.
No, but it's very fucking good. Especially the way she did it. She always goes all out. Like I said, best ingredients possible. Freshest seafood.
All right. How do you sorry.
Now you can tell by the pictures, it's pretty watery.
Yeah, no, it is.
Right? I it is a fish stew, but if the judges will allow it, I think it should be considered. I mean, we don't have to.
Chili, if you're allowing chili to be on like sure. So how do you pronounce it or spell it?
Cioppino.
All right.
Cioppino. I believe it's pronounced. Maybe Google will tell me again.
All right. So we have currently French. That was your last one, right?
Yeah, it's cioppino. Okay. Yes, that was my last one. Now it might be a little bit tough for me to get that one on there since you've never had it, but man, dude, if you ever have this soup,
I'm thinking like
it is fantastic.
According to and maybe I'm being reductive here, but according to the description, it's it's tomato soup, but with seafood, right?
It is much more. It has much more broth than a traditional stew for sure.
No, right. But what I'm saying is, like, if we're looking at like what goes into a cioppino, and you like it that much, I would be fine being like let's say tomato bisque. Tomato bisque.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, I would, if you're willing to do that, I would too, because I would definitely eat that over tomato bisque.
Because we have to start trimming this down anyway. So right now we have French onion, wonton, lobster bisque, wedding, clam chowder, chili, pumpkin, technically tomato bisque, and then cioppino.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the locks. I think that's what we usually do. So French onion needs to be on there.
Yep.
Your turn. I'm trying to think. Is there another lock?
I think chili needs to be on that list personally.
Okay, I'll grant you chili.
If you do not like it, then we can.
No, I love chili. I'll grant you chili.
All right.
It's a little bit unfair. We're on the line here. Technically it is a soup, but I think preparation could definitely define whether it's a soup or
so
not.
when I think chili, I'm being serious here. Like all the chilies that I thought, wow, that's a really good chili, was a lot of broth.
A lot of broth-esque. And that's exactly why, I didn't immediately consider that. Like I said, my father's not very much at all. So, all right, excellent. So let's kind of eliminate some now. We got two locks on there.
We have French onion and chili on there. So out of wonton, lobster bisque, wedding, clam chowder, pumpkin, cioppino. Are we just killing tomato bisque?
Let's kill tomato bisque. I like your argument on that.
So out of those six, we have to pull half of those up.
We got to pull half of those off. I'm willing to nix the pumpkin. I don't think it's fair to you. I
can wrap my head around. Oh, it's tomato soup, but with
exactly
fish in it.
So if we're picking between one of them that you've never had, then I'm going to fight for. It's going to be that cioppino.
Okay. So wonton is good.
Yeah.
My recent memory is scarred from it.
It's skewed.
Looking at this list,
I'm not gonna. Okay, that's fair.
I would take everything.
I will
wonton.
Counter with how into wedding soup are you?
Wedding soup is like my vanilla soup. Like I really like wedding soup.
Okay.
Am I going to fight for it over? Honestly, lobster. Like actually, no. I'll take it off. I'm good.
Okay, so wedding soup's off. How many do we have remaining? I think
wedding soup is very good, but it is very kind of normal.
Yeah. What do we have remaining?
So we have wonton, lobster bisque, clam chowder, the creamy kind, which I hate the word
so
creamy.
let's get rid of
cioppino.
Let's get rid of clam chowder. I think we can definitely do that. I think we agreed that lobster bisque edges it out a little bit.
Look at this. You're freaking wheeling and dealing. Okay.
Well, this is why I thought this list was going to be pretty concise here because.
Okay, so right now we have French onion, chili, wonton, lobster bisque, and cioppino.
We just need to get rid of one?
No, that's it.
We have the list.
Five.
Fantastic.
We need to order it up.
Nice.
We have.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, run down that one more time for me, please.
French onion.
Yep.
Chili.
Yep.
Wonton.
Yeah.
Lobster bisque, cioppino. We flip wonton and cioppino and call it a day.
Run down that list one more time. What? So you're saying the order should be?
I don't want to.
Okay.
We can talk through it.
Okay.
French onion.
Yeah.
Chili.
Yeah.
Wonton. Lobster bisque, cioppino.
Okay, I might disagree with what you're saying then. So, I'm cool with putting wonton at 5.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
I think you're good with that as well.
I am. Yes.
Now we get to the tough because I think I am much lower on chili than you are.
I'm learning that, and I did not think that was the case.
So I would put lobster bisque above it, and I would also put the cioppino above it. Now, you've never had the cioppino.
Cioppino's
which
tough,
helps.
and
man,
chili
I am
does
telling
have
you, bro, if you would have this, I mean, it might be the best soup I've ever had just because of the experience I had with it. Like, she went all out, spent an inordinate amount of money on this shit.
That's a tough one.
So,
because chili's a tomato base too, and I'm not saying if you have one tomato base, you have to mix the other one. But
well, no, I mean they're both on the 5. I will cut a deal with you here.
Okay,
we can put cioppino at 4 if we put chili at 3
and
lobster bisque at 2. How do you feel about that?
I'm 100% down with that.
Okay, and then of course, I mean, to no surprise, if you listen to our previous episode, French onion is just the fucking best. I think that's what I said first off. I was like, well, French onion's one.
Yeah, no, French onion is.
French onion's just so good.
And
I could eat that.
It defies all logic because it's just broth.
Yeah.
And it's somehow
it just
the best
has
one.
such an amazing taste, and I am a big onion fan. And with the cheese and you have a nice bread with it, man, fantastic. So, all right,
I'm
Tyler.
good with this. Are you good with this?
I'm
all right.
Great with this.
That was record time. That was the record time.
That was the record time. But I was saying before, I mean, I had an inkling that our soup preferences were very aligned.
Right.
And that seems to be the case.
Okay. All right. So,
well, partially because you came to bat with like 3 of them too. But so.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Well, but
2 years made it on, right?
Yeah. I mean, like
chili
and French onion, or
onion.
That was 2 of the 3 that I was going to fight for.
1.5. We shared French onion.
Wedding was like I'm going to fight for, but like clearly you're more passionate about all
soup.
of these.
Love soup.
All right. So number 5 is wonton.
Yep.
Number 4 is cioppino. Number 3 is chili. Number 2. Lobster bisque, and the number 1 best soup per the Couch Company podcast, French onion.
Yes, sir. There it is. Record time top 5.
Right in with your questions, comments,
soups. And I think that's a solid list.
I think so too. You
any
can't go wrong with any
person of culture will respect that cioppino is on there, man. Like that's I'm always really good at throwing that curveball for number 4, dude. But man, if you ever get the chance, you're at a fancy restaurant, anyone listening, cioppino's on the menu. Let me tell you, man, if you like seafood, this is
I don't want any restaurant cioppino. I want your mom's friend's cioppino.
Yeah,
sounds
I'll
weird, but that's what I want.
Sounds like you're a dirty Italian, but no, absolutely. If I could ever make that happen, I'll have to write that down. I do want to try Chelsea's divorce soup. That sounds awesome.
I mean, I think the easy thing is you bring in the pumpkin soup.
Yep.
Chelsea does the divorce soup. She'll be thrilled.
Yeah, this one's like a once every 3 years.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I spend $300 on this soup. All right, man. There it is. I think we're at time. I think it's a good place to call it.
Perfect timing.
We're going to go get something to eat. As always, we really, really appreciate you guys listening. If you listen to the whole thing, you are awesome. That is fantastic. It makes me really happy to, know that people are listening to us. It's really cool.
And talk about soup for a half hour.
Exactly. I hope you guys like it. If you ever have any suggestions, we do have we're on Twitter. Mm-hmm. We do have the call-in suggestion box, if you will.
Yep. Discord's on there. You can drop a line in Discord.
Absolutely. So, whatever your preference is for that, we would love to hear from you. I would love to get some audience engagement with it. Tyler showed me the numbers. There are actually people listening to us, which blows my mind.
Wild, yeah. It's nice.
Honestly, it is awesome. We've been doing this for a while, and it's really encouraging to us. I can speak for the both of us here, to see those, and we just want to keep doing this. It's a really fun.
Friends in Germany, hello.
Germany, we didn't mention Germany.
Whatever.
Do you guys have cioppino over there? If you can find it in Germany, I definitely recommend it. Anyways, that's all we got for you this week. So join us next week, same time, same place, same goofy times. And as always, thanks for joining us on the couch. Peace.